Fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician. Hit that like button and share this stream if you're not a beta male.
My name is Jasmine Woodson.
Hi, my name is Silla.
I'm Karen Watson.
I'm Yolanda Johnson from Georgia.
This is BB Diamond from New York City.
I'm Dana Galen, and I'm from Tampa, Florida.
I live in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Out here in Maricopa County.
Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
I am a proud African immigrant living in Florida.
I'm from the great state of New Jersey.
I'm Angelina from Philly, and this November, I am not voting for Kamala Harris.
I am not voting for Kamala Harris.
I'm not voting for Kamala Harris.
I am not with Kamala Harris.
I am not with her.
I'm not with her.
I am not with Kamala Harris.
I'm not with Kamala.
I am not for Kamala. I am for Donald Trump.
I am not with Kamala.
I am not with her because she is not with me.
I support President Trump and the economic policies our country experienced under his leadership as our 45th president.
President Trump will support our law enforcement agencies and fund them appropriately.
Donald Trump made me proud to be an American.
I'm with Donald J. Trump.
We need a leader who can make America great again.
Trump puts Americans first, and he always will.
We need Donald Trump.
I and millions of other Black Americans will cast my vote for Donald J. Trump.
I will proudly cast my vote for Donald J. Trump as our next president.
Let's make America great again.
So many Black people, men and women, becoming conservative. Are we going back to the past?
I have multiple members of my family that have criminal records. They need blue-collar jobs. If you look at the results of the Mass Deportation Acts, Black men are getting jobs in trucking. They're getting jobs in home improvement. They're getting jobs in moving and storage. This is a fact that was direct. And I just was talking to her about this outside. They are taking low-cost rental apartments. I'm a real estate agent. I did the math on this. In New York City, I'm in New York City. There are 100,000 homeless people in New York City. There are 600,000 illegal migrants in New York City. There's 20% of the illegal migrants are living in apartments, right? So that's, if you do those quick numbers, that's 120,000 or 120,000 apartments being taken up that could be going to the 100,000 homeless people. And of the homeless people, 60% of them are illegal migrants. So the reality is, we need to talk about this and how that sector of the population coming here is affecting especially low-income Black and brown people. Also, abortion needs to be mentioned because the reality is, as we abort more of our Black babies, we become or keep staying a lower minority in this country. There are somewhere around 400,000 Black babies aborted every year, not just babies. There's 1 million abortions every year. There's 400,000 Black babies aborted every year. Black people only make up 13% of the entire U.S. population. So if we kept 1 million people every 2 years, we would literally stop being a minority in this country in the course of like 10 years.
Yeah, so I definitely feel often misunderstood because I am very nuanced. I personally, based upon the Word of God, I am very much against abortion and wouldn't justify having one myself. I have one child, I've had one pregnancy inside marriage. So I'm very much, we are, that from the womb that God knew us. That's what Jeremiah tells us. So I 100% agree there. The issue that I have, though, with the Conservative Party is after that child is here, the programs that are no longer available. So no, this is historically true. And the difference between this current administration.
What does pro-Black and conservative look like? Watch this until the end.
Is that when I speak to people directly, a lot of Black people that think that they're Democrats are actually closeted conservative. For myself, to the prompt of how we are perceived or received, I should say, one thing that I've noticed personally, as you like to say, like I talk to people directly, you said this. What I've noticed is that a lot of Black people immediately judge me because I say I'm a conservative. They assume that I'm anti-immigrant. They assume that I don't want, I want to be white. All of these crazy things that I'm in the comments of my, you guys know. The comments are just crazy what they assume about me. But once they start speaking to me, as you all saw, like, you'll learn that I am pro-Black. I do want the best for us. But what I've learned also is that when I speak to people directly, a lot of Black people that think that they're Democrats are actually closeted conservatives. And that's going back to my point way at the beginning. We have conservative values overall. We do love, family values, etc. And people are no longer comfortable having conversations. And I have to say that a lot of this is, in my opinion, because of the left being very, not just, cancel culture and almost violent sometimes to people when they say they're, hello, yeah. Yeah. There is a discomfort when it comes to having these conversations. So I'm really happy we've been able to do this. But as far as perception, I think that we would all agree that, people immediately assume things about us that probably just aren't true.
Fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician.
If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up and young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues, absent fathers who miss you, mama drama don't kiss you, all a part of the ritual, this is how they get you, separate the men, women, clipping babies pretend to, damn, lovers, haters, acting like vultures, if it ain't seven, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us, if it ain't seven, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us, if it ain't seven, it ain't kosher, if it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen.
All right, guys. Hold tight. Thank you guys for tapping in. I got a special guest, guys, in the house. all the way from the great state of New York by the name of Marion Richardson. And she goes by the hashtag on Instagram as hashtag Marion Richardson. And we're going to have a very pointed conversation on tonight. We're going to talk about Black conservatism, while so many Black people are turning to the Conservative Party, and while a large percentage voted Democrat, why she became a staunch conservative, and what it means moving forward. Without further ado, guys, get your pens and paper ready. And I got the guest of the hour, Marion Richardson, all the way from the state of New York. How you doing, young lady? Can you hear me? You blacked out. There we go. Miss Richardson, how you doing, dear?
Hello. How are you?
It's a pleasure to hear
I'm
from
good.
you. I'm glad.
Can you hear me? Is everything okay? Because it's choppy a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you perfect. A little choppy though, but I can hear you. You're breaking up. Can you hear me?
Great. All right. Awesome. Thank you for that great introduction.
Oh yeah. We call that Southern hospitality. That's how we do it in the South, man. You know, we want to show hospitality in the South, in the great state of North Carolina. But let's get into it, Mary. You know, it's a pleasure to see you. I love your fervor. I love your energy. I love your ability to speak truth to power without wavering in your conviction. Because I go by the kosher clinician, and in the Hebrew, the 7 is a skavav, which means to be complete. And so I started my channel, Marion, about 5 years ago, and mostly it's an MRA, a male rights advocate. And the premise of the channel, it says, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. People now don't want to hear kosher truth. They don't want to hear the truth. And anything, Marion, that's synonymous to the truth. And anytime you try to be a clarion caller or speak truth to power, it's often met with a lot of disdain, and it's often met with a lot of peril. What's been your experience being a Black conservative, and what brought you out of the liberal indoctrination of most liberals and brought you to the Conservative Party? With the understanding no party is perfect, but it did give you something that liberals weren't giving you. Break it down for me.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's such a multifold answer to that question, right?
Sure.
And of course, the moment I move by my window, I think the cops are about to ride by. So let me close this real quick. It's a long journey, so I'll just give you like the concepts of what changed my mind, right? So first, there was the reality of becoming a mother, right? So for me, my daughter is so important, and understanding that what I vote for impacts her life, not only in policy, but in promotion, right? So when I'm seeing things like the Democrat Party, you know, Kamala bringing Megan Thee Stallion to twerk at the DNC, or watching someone like Cardi B endorse, you know, that candidate, I'm just like, what is the Democrat Party promoting to young children? On top of it, you know, she's a girl, but she likes sports and things like that. So I'm like, watching these people promote the idea of transgenderism, right? Promote this concept that maybe God made a mistake when he made somebody. And I'm like, that's insane. On top of, you know, having my daughter and starting to get very active in worrying about what she is. Can you hear that in the background? I just feel like it's hilarious. It's like the timing is fascinating. So watching what she's being introduced to, and then coming to Christ for myself. And that was a big one, you know, raised in the church, but not a true Holy Spirit filled and biblically based Christian until maybe 4 years ago, I would say, is when I really accepted Jesus into my life. By the way,
respect.
Happy Good Friday. It's a fantastic day. Praise the Lord.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
But so reading the Word of God, matching or aligning that with the Democrat Party, realizing it does not align at all, right? Like they're complete opposites in ideals and values, in just the overall way that they promote the family structure and et cetera. Just seeing the huge gaps in the Democrat Party when it comes to what God wants for us. It was just impossible to continue to vote Democrat. Watching them promote abortion and act like those children. Like I have a beautiful picture of my little girl holding a photo, the first ultrasound that I ever got with her. She was only 7 weeks old.
Yes.
And I'm like, they're telling people that these are not children, in the womb. It's just so heartbreaking. So it was a very slow grind. Like it took, years for me to change directions. But once I really did, there was no going back.
Yeah. And I call them libtards because as I told you, I don't feel no part of Mari can really encapsulate the meaning of being Black in America. I think some have policies that are more germane to the Black collective, but they definitely can't more or less relate to Black people. Because Black excellence, Marion, was predicated on conservatism. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it was predicated in conservatism. And there was a time, Marion, that Black folks didn't do the things that the liberal counterparts would do. We had a staunch belief in certain principles that sustained us through Jim Crow racism, pre-antebellum, post-antebellum slavery, and on up to now, on up to the 60s before the Lyndon B. Johnson administration. There was nothing greater than Black people and Black excellence. We were on the up climb. We were doing good.
Exactly.
We came out of Jim Crow racism. I remember a time, Mario, Black women didn't do what white women were doing. That's not to denigrate white women, but they just had a level of decorum that was more superior than any other woman. And I've always said, Marion, that the Black American woman at one point, she was the greatest woman ever. There was no woman in my mind to compare it to the Black American woman. But something nefarious happened. She was brainwashed, she was hoodwinked, and she was convinced by the serpent. This liberalism that's been impacted upon Black women basically told them to rebel against the authority and the order of man.
Yeah.
And every time women get out of order and they become complicit in rebellion against God's divine law, chaos happens. The scripture said that rebellion is as witchcraft, and then idolatry is as stubbornness. And so you got a generation of women, Marion, that rebel against masculine leadership, and they place their feelings above objective truth. And because of that, now you got a generation of women that think just because they got a vagina that they gave to multiple men, somehow they're supposed to be special, and you're supposed to put them on a pedestal and give them the world and give them the same marriage that your grandmother had and your great grandmama and those women from the South. And those women are old, that not only were they God-fearing, but they respected their bodies, and they made themselves accommodable or palatable to traditional Black men that would die for them, love them, and put their lives on the line.
Their husbands. They respected their husbands. It's such a weird thing to me now. I remember that debate that was happening a few years ago when women were like complaining, like, why do I need to fix a man a plate? If he's grown, he can fix. Like, do you even like him?
Wow.
Like, do you like this man or not? I don't understand. And I remember this actress, she's a rapper actress. Her name is Light Skin Keisha. And I just know of her because she was on that show Power, right? And she said, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to use like YouTube friendly language, right? Because I don't want you to get dinged. But she was like, it's crazy that you guys will let a man, do X, Y, and Z to you and lay around in a bed with a man, but fixing him a plate is where you just are like stunned.
You can't make it up. You can't listen. Women don't understand, Marion, that when they give a man their body, they are submitting to his phallus. They're submitting. The phallus actually symbolizes the scepter. The scepter is what kings use. You know what a scepter is, right? And so the king always uses a royal scepter. So every time she opened herself up to a man, she's submitting to his scepter, which is his phallus. And she's submitting to him. But somehow she think by showing the man kindness and cooking him a meal. And that was just something we did in Gen X, Mario. I know you millennial, but I'm Gen X strong. Gen X strong is how we get down. When music was music and everything was everything. like y'all had in the Boogie Down Bronx, but it was nothing for
Brooklyn,
a woman.
first of all.
Oh, for Brooklyn, I'm sorry. Brooklyn, stand up.
I love the BX.
Okay, all right.
I
Brooklyn,
love the
stand up.
Bronx, but I must
Okay.
make that very clear.
Okay, no doubt. Respect. Brooklyn, stand up. All right, no doubt. But it was just normal, Marion, for women to in the 90s.
I feel compelled. I'm so sorry. I just want to. It's not a big deal, but because you keep saying my name, I need you to know it's Marion. I just feel like I should have said that.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's not a problem
Marion.
at all. I just feel like I should tell you. I feel like it would be disingenuous of me not to tell you. So Marion.
Okay. Yes. Marion.
Yes, sir. No worries. No worries.
All right. Hold tight. Shout out to my man, St. James Palmer. He's actually from New York. For that $20 holler, for that $20 super chat. Shout out to my brother all the way from New York for the $20 holler. Thank you, brother.
It's the money.
I don't think we're going back. Marion, did I say it right?
Yes, sir.
I don't think we're going back, Marion, to Black excellence in this lifetime. I'm not against wishful thinking. I'm not a nihilist, and I'm not against folks being hopeful. I'm not against that because I got kids just like you got. I mean, my kids are basically grown. I got a 20-year-old, 28-year-old, going on 28, and I got a daughter that's 16. Good girls. But the book said, because you are a woman of faith, unless God builds the house, the laborers build it in vain. The current foundation is built on quicksand. It's not built on those things that are amenable to having what's called traditional families. And because the rebellion is so strong, the cognitive dissonance is so high, I don't see it proliferating in this lifetime. It's not because I'm a nihilist. I'm just a pragmatist because I understand, Marion, that in systems theory, the part is not greater than the whole. But see, something has happened. I'm gonna call you Lady M. I don't want to mess your name.
You got it. You're good. You got it. Go ahead.
And so the problem is, Marion, is that you got a generation of women that exalt themselves above the Black collective. They see themselves as being greater than the Black man. The DNC said they are the backbone of the Black community, which is a front to heteronormative Black traditional men that are going hard in the paint. But then when things begin to cascade, they say nobody protect us. So what they don't understand is this: you don't get the protection of the Black man without submitting to the Black man's leadership. I'm really thinking about writing a book called
No one protects hoes. You don't protect hoes. You want to be protected and you want to be a hoe, you got to get a pimp. That's who protects a hoe.
Right.
Let's be honest about it. If you want to be a hoe and you want protection, you have a pimp. You don't have a husband. There's a very different things. And hoes know how to obey somebody. In fact, if we want to really talk about it, hoes obey their pimps because their pimps will beat the brakes off of them if they don't obey.
That's true.
Right?
You're telling the truth. And
we have to talk about it.
And the fact that you're so passionate about it speaks volumes, and you're not afraid to say what you believe in. What's been the biggest struggle, Marion, about being a clarion caller and speaking truth to power without impunity? What's been your biggest struggle?
To be honest, I would say it's not really a struggle that is a political thing for me. It was really accepting that following Christ and doing it for real and taking him seriously would move the majority of the people that I cared about out of my life. Right. God has risen me up for this. When I thought back at it, I said, okay, so this is why I was always a little bit of a little weirdo at school, right? This is why I would say things and not realize that I was coming off offensive to people. People would say, well, why would you say that? It's like, no, I just told the truth. And I didn't realize that the truth is not something people are comfortable with, right?
So they don't want the truth.
They don't want the truth. And I had this moment, I'll never forget, I had this moment in high school where, I was like somewhat in with like the cool kids, the jocks and the cheerleaders, etc. Like I was like somewhat cool with them. One day we're like sitting down, we're having this like game thing that we were doing, and this one girl just kept skipping me. Like the game was going around and this girl just kept skipping, and I saw it happening. I let it happen 3 times, and then I just got up and walked away.
Right.
And I realized like that was truly such a defining moment for me, for my life, because ever since then, I am so okay with walking away. I am so completely fine with being like, you don't get me, you don't like me, that's cool. No problem. I'm going to stand on what I know is true. So honestly, it's been difficult, but it's been more difficult walking with Christ, standing firm on Christian values, and watching people around me who think that they're Christian, who think that they're saved, tell me that I'm too extreme or I'm not, accommodating and kind enough to do an X, Y, and Z person. Like that's been the harder fight, if you will. And I'm sorry, I'm just looking for my portable charger because my phone is going to die on me.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I'm not careful, but go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and so
but to be honest, to answer your question, it's not that hard because I don't care what these people think.
Right. And I think you got to get to a point because what you're saying is true, Marion. The fear of man brings a snare. And you don't really know who your friends are because they're going to rock with you regardless. Listen, I don't knock nobody for what they believe in. You believe what you want to believe in, but don't knock me for having a different worldview. I can have a conversation with people, and their worldview might be a little different than mine. Just like men spaces. Men spaces, we're not a monolith. We're men from different backgrounds, different worldviews, and different sectors, and different millennials. But at the same time, we can have a culture conversation where we look at commonalities and the things we don't agree with. We just go our separate ways, and we can still have civility and brotherhood. But we live in a world now, if you don't go along to get along, folks will truncate you and put you in corners. And one of the things I understand still fundamentally is this. I know you're a woman of faith. And in God's kingdom, God don't look at things based on color. He don't look at things based on race. He look at things based in righteousness. The master teacher said, "Who is my brother?" And then he said, "He that does the will of the Father, that's who my brother is." And so I don't get caught. Yeah, I don't get caught up, Mary, in skin hue and racialized idolatry, because I think the thing that's destroying Black excellence is racialized idolatry, where they tend to put skin color over God's objective truth. We understand that everybody's not of faith, but that's not the point. But there's this tribalism among Black folks or Black people from West African descent. They'll assume that just because your skin color is Black, you got to think the same way they think. And I don't think like anybody expects. I think the way I want to think, because I'm a free thinker. I always have been a free thinker, and I'm a die free thinker. You're not going to tell me what I'm going to think. I can have a conversation, but I'm going to think how I want to think, because I know what's right and I know what's wrong. And I understand now, after the last 8 years, the DNC has caused a lot of disruption in Black excellence. Some could argue that you got what's called rhino Republicans too, but I will argue that the policies of the Conservative Party are not as deleterious as the policies of libtards. That's maybe I shouldn't say that, but let me stop. But that's what I would say. How would you respond to that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I completely agree. Personally, I think that I'm more intense. Like I'm full blown MAGA. I firmly believe that the Republican Party, the Democrat Party, or the Conservative Party is the right party for Black people. I think that conservative ideology and policy overall are more beneficial to Black people than most things that the Democrats have ever pushed. Let's be honest about it, because we don't need a bunch of government handouts. We don't. We need space to build ourselves back up again. We need beneficial tax reform so that we're not giving all of our money back to the government, so that we can actually take care of the next generation. Look at what Mandami is proposing here in New York. One of my videos, in fact, 50 Cent reposted my video for a second, because I was explaining to people, I'm like, you guys went and voted for a socialist, and he wants to raise your property taxes to 9.5%, and he wants to change the death tax so that instead of $7 million being the threshold to whether or not you pay this tax, he wants to lower it down to $750,000. I'm like, y'all think this is, you don't understand that that is Black and brown homeowners. That's my parents. That's most of the people that I grew up with. If you're from New York, your family home is definitely worth that. Even if you have a condo, you're probably sitting on at least $750K. So this man, what he wants to do is take half of your earnings, half of your generational wealth, the moment that your parents die. And I'm like, these are the socialist, democratic ideals or the policies that are pushed that sound lovely when they're up there smiling on their, little podiums, but they don't work. And there's a reason that the places that are least beneficial to Black people are also Democrat-run cities.
Yeah,
they're failing us. They're failing us. And I don't believe that it is a positive to look for government assistance as the way out or as, a baseline for what the Black community needs. What we need is the ability and the space to build for ourselves. We don't need a new father figure in the form of a government.
There's a concept called Trump derangement syndrome, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you're correct. When you look at all these policies, the beliefs that were totally antithetical to Black excellence, and what white liberals did, they somehow convinced Black women that they were being oppressed by Black men. And I've always said, Mary, the Black men never had power to oppress Black women. We know at no time that we conspire with white oligarchs to create policies at the macro level that was more or less deleterious to the function of Black women. We were mused together in the fields of the South. I'm from North Carolina, the eastern part of North Carolina. We were mused together in Georgia, Mississippi, and South Carolina, and Alabama, and whatever, any place in the South, we were mused together. And what I find very offensive is when I hear some women say, well, we don't need Black men for survival now, so what else can you give us? So I would argue, what are you giving the Black man? You're not giving him chastity, you're not giving him virginity, you're not giving him wholesomeness, but you want the Black man to build a nation, but yet you don't submit to the leadership of the Black man. And so white liberals took Black people and stepped on the necks of Black folks to push their own agenda. They pushed all these agendas that were totally deleterious to Black excellence, because if you go back to Africa, Africans don't believe in a lot of this liberal nonsense. Our ancestors didn't believe in a lot of this nonsense, but somehow our women were hoodwinked. And they went to college and they got indoctrinated, and it's so messed up now to the point that by 2030, Marion, there are going to be a large percentage of women that are going to be single and childless, and we're going to talk about that soon on Hoflation in the coming apocalypse. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I want to show you some. I got some montages that I put together, and because I hear so many people say one of the negatives that folks have towards the conservative party, it's not nuanced to it, is that we call it bootstrap bro pathology. Shout out to my man Dr. Thunder for coming up with that terminology. But it's pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and where that has some nuance to it, and while there's some truth to it, I would think it's highly erroneous to juxtapose that they're not systemic barriers, or they have not been systemic barriers. They have impacted Black people collectively. I'm not saying that you can't be successful. Don't get me wrong, because I did it. And I understand that some Black folks have a victimized mentality, but there have been barriers, and they still remain barriers that more or less impede progress. I don't think those barriers are as onerous as they were in the past, but they still present themselves. So here's the thing. Systemic people, a lot of conservatives say, well, there's no such thing as systemic racism. Well, that's nonsense. I'm 6'5", 6'6", dark skinned. Did I make it? Yes, I made it. But did I catch hell making it? Yeah. And still catching hell. I've been catching hell my whole life because I won't shut up. I don't know how to shut up. I got a big mouth, and I'm always in trouble because I stand up for what's true and stand up for what's right. And you're not gonna make me bow. So some conservatives, not all, say, well, pull yourself by the bootstraps and stop blaming the white man. And I understand there's some truth to that. I do believe the Black folks need to stop making everything about white people. I believe that. But to minimize and not say that they have not been, or there were never systemic barriers in place to impede black folks were mobilizing at the same rate as their white counterparts, to me, would be foolhardy. The diagram that I have here more or less symbolizes that. Systemic racism says, I'm going to give you an opportunity, but it's not an equal opportunity. And I'm not saying that that's stopping us from being successful. Now, I'm not saying that. But for us to not understand all the things that have been impacted towards black folks in the past, and in some part now still don't exist, would be foolhardy. I'm not saying it's all systemic. I think a lot of it now is self-inflicted. What would you say to that? Go ahead. I know I said a lot.
Interesting. I can hear you. So the question is, like, I think when you put up a graphic, it makes it more difficult for the connection for some reason. So can you hear me? Am I coming through clearly?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you
So
perfect. Yes.
what I would say to that, when I say, like, here's the thing that I would say to that. One, systemic racism definitely existed, does still, in concepts exist. I will never pretend that's not a thing. But I get frustrated when people act like that should be enough to stop someone, right? Because when I look at it, it's like you might have had a difficult, you might have had a difficult time, but so did a white child growing up with crack addicted parents, right? Or, someone whose parents lost everything in the Great Depression, right? Like, we have to acknowledge that it's not the only thing that makes people struggle is race. So when I see someone say, oh, well, the systemic racism held us back, and it's like, yes, that's absolutely true, but it didn't stop everybody. So what did this person do? Right? What did this group do? How did this, and by this group, I'm talking about sectors of Black people. I'm not talking about other ethnicities. I don't care what the other ethnicities did. I'm talking about the fact that there's too many, in my opinion, there's too many successful Black people for us to keep saying that the Black community was by and large held back. What it was we did have more stumbling blocks, but some people figured out how to get over them. And more times than not, the reason they were able to get over them is because they held firm to two things: to God and to conservative values. Because they had a family that took care of them, because mom made sure that she was taking care of her kids, that she wasn't letting her kids be raised by the government, that, father stayed in that home more likely than not. We see these small things that make huge differences down the line to Black and brown children becoming successful down the line. And I just feel like, if once we start throwing around these terms of racism, systemic racism, whatever, it's like they're cop-outs. Because everyone has some difficulty to come over. Everyone has some difficulty to get over. And even if they didn't, even if there was none of that, think about this. I always say there's a reason why when you go to other countries and there's one race, when you go to other countries, you go to China and there's just Chinese people, they still have successful people and not successful people. And it's nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with either what circumstance you were born into, or how hard you're willing to work, and how you're looking for other solutions, other ways to make something happen.
Right.
So that's my thought about it. Like, even right now, people are so mad. They're like, oh, Black women have lost their jobs in, record numbers under Trump and everything. And I'm like, that's fair and true. But also, if you're going to scream that Black women are the most educated, portion of this society, then Black women can find a way to make other, streams of income. We're smart enough to do other things. We don't have to be beholden to whatever we got our degree in, etc. And we're smart enough to come up with our own companies. You can't fire. We wouldn't have had so many Black women losing jobs if Black women had started their own companies and hired each other.
Shout out to my man Top Gun for that 5. He said, walking away, no reason to seek inclusion from a group of people that don't align with you, regardless of what you may think you have in common. I agree with that 100%. Because all skin folk ain't kin folk. So yeah, so I do agree with that. I don't. My point is, I feel like, and even though I have conservative values, it irritates me when people minimize the. Okay, let me be real clear what I'm saying. It irritates me when people sometimes minimize that systemic racism does exist. But I'm not one to say systemic racism is going to stop you from being successful. It might take you longer than your counterpart, and I don't think that's right, but it can be done because we did it in the past, and I think we should be able to do it now. But I think we're so discombobulated. I think it's greatly impeding us from getting the outcomes that we want for the most part. Let me show you. Hold tight. Let me play this. Hold tight. And so the whole premise, Marion, of systemic racism is that the opportunity presents itself for people of African descent. We overcame in spite of, but it brought forth a lot of stress, a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, and a lot of discontentment. And so I'm not one to say blame everything on the system, blame everything on the white man. I'm not one for that, because I'm a living testament that hard work and determination did get me to where I'm at. Only thing I'm saying is that it burns me up when people just act like it don't exist, it never existed, and they didn't have any role in to the issues that we have in our community now and how we see ourselves. That's my only issue with it. My man, the International Quiet Storm, said, Black men have no idea how much power they have by merely walking away and protecting their meat, money, energy, attention, and time. And so there's a large burgeoning movement. She disappeared. Hello, are you there? Can you hear me? Hello.
Can you
you hear
see me again?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you disappeared like Casper the Ghost. You just disappeared. But anyway.
Hey, yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you perfect. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you, but I was saying the graphic, if you can remove the graphic, because whenever, for some reason, when you put the graphic up, it just like messes with the connection on my end. I think it's just like, I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi.
It's just better because I got to use the graphic for the conversation. Is this better? Is this better? If not, I'll just have to pop it up and pop it down. Do it in a minute. So let me pop it down. I'm gonna bring it down. I'll bring it down.
Okay.
All right. So and what I'll do, I'll pop it in and pop it out, so it won't mess you. How about that? I'll just pop it in and pop it out. If it's slow down your bandwidth. But what were some of the principles that your mother and father taught you as a young lady that gave you the courage and the determination to become the woman that you are now? And then also, what are you not seeing that what your parents taught you? The values that your parents taught you, what did they teach you, and how are those values not being translated to the current generation, in your opinion? All right, she got a bad connection, guys. She got a bad connection. Hold tight. So anyway, okay, here we go. There you go. Go ahead, young lady. Can you hear me?
Hello. Can you guys hear me? I'm so sorry. It's just my Wi-Fi. I just moved into a new apartment and I did not realize that my cell phone just is not getting the best Wi-Fi. So I do apologize, but hopefully you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you. You just fade in and out sometime. But anyway, did you hear what I said? I know you were fading out, but did you hear what I said?
No, say it one more time.
Man, come on, I'm old. My brain can't remember all that stuff I said. Let me stop. So basically what I was saying, what are the values that your parents have taught you? So I was asking, what are the values that you're buffering?
Lord.
You're in the alternate universe.
I am so
Spider-Man.
sorry. This is terrible.
Yeah, Spider-Man in the alternate universe. We got 3 versions to be. But anyway, did you hear
Can
what I
you hear
said?
me?
I can hear you. Yes. Yes.
Okay. I think we're decent right now. Go forward with what you were asking. I apologize. Like, I literally just moved in like 2 days ago and I never tried to stream from this apartment. So I apologize for that.
No problem. No, it is what it is. No problem. So I was saying that what do you feel, what did your parents teach you that's not being conveyed to the current generation that we live in now, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, that's a tough one. I gotta be honest with you. Like, I love my parents, but they're actually Democrats.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't necessarily think, I don't necessarily think that a lot of what I was taught is something that I would hold on to right now.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to think, because my dad is fantastic. He's taught me some very wonderful things, but I have completely shifted from what, I kind of grew up believing. And I teach my daughter things that I think were probably more my grandparents' generation,
Right.
But I will say this, what I've seen, what I have immense respect for my father for is his gut belief that he is to be a good father and a provider.
Mm-hmm.
He firmly, my entire life, and I mean, like, my mother passed away when I was 12. So I actually
sorry to hear that.
Moved in with my dad. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My sister and I moved in with my dad like full time. And even though, my stepmother was in my life for a very long time, but even though she was around, my dad was the one that woke up every morning and made us breakfast for, before school. My dad was the one at the PTA, not PTA, but the parent teacher meetings. My dad was the one making sure that the homework and everything was done. He just was always so very clear about the fact that being a father is extremely important. And, I thank God for him, because through him being the man that he is, not only do I know, the person that I want to raise my children. And I will say that my daughter, me and her dad are not together, but I'm very grateful to God that he is the person that I have a child with, because he loves this little girl and he is a fantastic father to her. And there's something about having a father that helps you.
All right, I'll wait tomorrow and get back, guys. She's having issues with her connection. But anyway, so my issue with those that minimize systemic racism is that, okay. Are you there?
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Do you have a computer, Mario? Do you have a computer?
My gosh, I'm literally keeping my phone. Like, I have my phone out of the window, like literally
It's overheating.
hanging outside of the window, trying to catch the Wi-Fi. It's so ridiculous. And you know what we'll do? If you want to redo this episode, I will, reschedule it for a time when I have my Wi-Fi set up in here and I can stop working on my phone cellular, because this is crazy.
Okay, yeah. So let's try to redo it, because this was getting good, man. It was getting real good. I'm just trying to figure something out. You don't have a computer, do you?
No, I don't have anything.
All right, guys. So I'm going to talk about even though I tend to have conservative values, one of the things that really irritates me. Okay, hold tight. Go ahead.
It's terrible. I feel so bad. I'm so embarrassed. Like I truly am I hate this right now because it is just my phone is just like nope.
No, you're fine. You were saying some good things about your dad. You said your dad instilled in you good values. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, just seeing that it's so important it is so important for a man to want to be a father. Right. And I know that he learned that from his father being a father, and also getting to see him and my stepmother have real love, a real, marriage where they both dote on each other, and watching it now in their older years. I'm like, y'all that think that you want to be single, you think that you especially the men, let's be clear, because I do a lot of these debates or these conversations and we rag on the women, but please understand, Black women would do a lot better if Black men did a lot better. Okay.
Okay.
And we have to acknowledge
what do you mean by that? Educate me. What do you mean by that?
I mean, look at everything. When you talk to Black men, a lot of them choose to leave their kids. They're leaving these kids. It's no longer just, they're getting pushed out or the relationship is difficult, whatever. They are choosing to give up on their children. A lot of them are just straight up making kids that they don't have. Look at Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon made like 10 different kids all at once with the understanding that he was creating a bunch of single mother households, right? We see these men that are, lifted up in our society, and they have created perpetual single mother households. So we can't blame just the women. The women are not sleeping with themselves to make these kids. And I always say, as much as I will hold women accountable, I'm going to hold the men accountable, because I am never going to look at the parent that stayed and say you are the problem. Right? Because a lot of these women are doing the very best. They're doing the very best that they can, or at least they're doing the very best that they've ever been taught to do. So when we look at the totality of what's going on, even when we look at things that are impacting the Black community, like drug use, it's like Black men are the ones selling the drugs. Let's be honest about that, right? They're the ones flooding our society, our community with these drugs that's damaging people. They're the ones that are, not in church. They're not in church. If we talk about the truth, Black men are not in church. That's why you got 7 Black women for every 1 Black man in church. So we need Black men will let their friend cheat on their wife. There's no accountability between Black men, in my opinion. Not I won't say none, but we need Black men, especially Black men like yourself and other Black men who are solid Black men, solid leaders, solid husbands, solid fathers. We need them to be teaching everybody. It's not even the next generation at this point. It's, we have old Black men who think that it's cute to be out here with no wife in their 50s and 60s. It's like, no. The damage is twofold.
Yeah. So I respect you and I love your energy. But I'm gonna give you a little bit of pushback, because there's a lot of truth to what you said. There's a lot of truth to what you're saying, and you're correct. There is a conglomerate of Black men that are not taking care of their kids, but here's the problem with that analysis. A lot of times, Martin, there's a concept in the clinical that we call overgeneralization, where we take a percentage of Black men and encapsulate them as being part of the whole. Are there dialect Black men that don't take care of their kids? Yes. Are Black men not in church like they should? Yes. I agree with you 100%. But the problem with that assessment many times, from what I've seen, is that we tend to talk about desirable Black men that Black women wanted, and invisible Black men that are average Black men, they had nothing to do with it. I would argue that 20% of Black men meet that criteria that you're talking about. But there's another percentage of Black men that are invisible because those women didn't want those Black men. Almost like the song back then, he didn't want me, now I'm hot, they're all on me. There are a lot of good brothers that I know that are invisible to the world. The current church does not speak to the heart of Black men. I'm really thinking about writing a book called Black Love Without Consent. because we never have asked black men what they want in relationships. So there is some truth to what you're saying. I don't disagree with that. I hold men accountable on my channel all the time. But a lot of times when we make those broad overgeneralizations, we're not looking at a percentage of black men that are really as hardworking brothers. They keep their head down, and they are invisible to a percentage of black women. Women by nature are very
I would say
hyperfocused.
the same to you, though. I would give you that exact same retort when it comes to black women, right? Like I would say the same exact thing. There is a small portion of black women that are making all black women look terrible. And then there's some black women who are extremely high achieving, right? So we're looking at the Kamalas, we're looking at, people of that realm, and they skew this image in one way as well, because they're the I'm so confident, I don't need a man type of woman, I'm the boss babe, whatever. And then somewhere in the middle there's a whole bunch of solid black women, and let's be here, like they're at the church, right? Like they're at the church. I walk into my church every Sunday and I see a bunch of really amazing single black women, and they're beautiful, but they're not trying to put out on the first night. Or they're not, they're not trying to be outside, wearing nothing. They're not wearing the skimpy clothing. So we have to be realistic. And again, I will agree with you. I totally agree with you. And that's why I said my father's an amazing man. You're obviously a great guy. Like these, good men do exist. I just know that we need the image of black men in society to change. We need what we're presenting to the world, or what we uplift in front of the rest of the world, to change. Because now when people think of black man, one of the first things they're going to think of is like, Nick Cannon or 50 Cent or Lil Yachty or whatever these people are. And they're going, these are the images that come into your mind, or, some sports star or something that's done something crazy, or they're thinking of a criminal, or they're thinking of someone that's on drugs. And so the quiet people, as they exist on both sides, I want that to be what we uplift more within the society.
I agree with you 100%. And so like my man Quiet Storm was saying, okay, he felt that was wrong because so according to the CDC, black fathers are more involved than any other fathers. Did you know that?
I think that is a tricky statistic to prove.
Okay. All right.
I feel like who did you interview to get that information, right? Because I can say, like, as a single mother, when I look around at the women that I personally know, right? Like I know multiple women. We're not with our daughter, our kid's father, but the father is very much in the life. And then you have one woman with 4 different kids, with 4 different baby daddies, and none of them are in their lives. So it's like these here and there, you have these pockets, or you have one man with 7 kids and he's not in any of their lives. So it's very tricky because the overall numbers are very, very hard to nail down in that. But that said, I 100% know for a fact that black men get a bad rep with this whole daddy's not around type of thing. I don't think that that's fair. I know that that's not 100% the case, but I will say that if I look at the women that I grew up with, of the 6 of us, we had 3 of us that lived with our fathers in the home. And 2 of us are siblings, me and my sister, right? So 2 fathers that were in the home, and then 3 fathers that were not in the home, that were in their lives, but not in the home, and weren't, an active everyday portion of raising the child. So, and that was 30 years ago, right? Because I'm 36. So looking at it today, I'm glad to see that tide is changing. I'm very, very happy to see that. I love seeing that black men are promoting fatherhood, promoting marriage. I love that. I want more of that. But I also think that is because we are starting to come back to conservative and traditional values. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And listen, listen, you're going to laugh at this, Marion. I want to make sure I say your name right. But you're going to laugh at
it's okay.
So, I give men smoke all the time. We talk about Day and Man and Raekwon and them, not them, but in them. I consider those dusty Negroes. They don't represent the men that I know. And so I understand that my anecdotal experience does not always encapsulate the masses, just like your anecdotal experience does not always encapsulate the masses. So we're not careful. Sometimes we'll let our own purview supersede what's actually really going on. So let me tell you what I'm saying. Am I against marriage? No. But do I think men should get married to the typical average modern woman now? With reservations, I would say yes. You seem like you're a good woman, but there are not a lot of Marians. Many don't bring anything to the table.
How many black men are there? Like, not to cut you off, I do apologize, but like, let me be clear on this. There are more Marians than there are. I feel like we have to be realistic.
Okay.
When we're talking about what's happening in our society, in our Black community, right? Like, so as you said, you're not sure if we're ever going to get back to Black excellence. Personally, I actually agree. And it's because I don't think that the Black community as a whole is going to last very much longer.
Yes,
I think that we are breeding out. The amount of Black people that I personally know that are married to white people is staggering. You understand? If we look at the realities, a lot of Black people, Black men and women, they want marriage, they want children, they want traditional values, but they're seeking it with other races because it's very hard to find your counterpart within the Black community at this point. And I will tell you, as someone that you think that I'm amazing or I'm awesome, and I do think that I'm awesome, but I will say I have plenty of people in my DMs that would be interested in dating me, but I have learned that when you start to date someone and you try to get to know them and you realize, you know what? There's still fundamental things that you want to match up. You want to match up with someone correctly. And I'm finding that it's very difficult to find that within the Black community. I got to be honest. Like if as a Black woman, I have a degree, I have a business, right? I'm not saying that those things are held higher, but when I try to date someone who is a mailman or something, that disconnect does show up. Right. And I'm not discrediting them, but I'm just saying it's like, even in conversations, having a conversation, how was your day? What did you do today? If he's delivering Amazon packages all day, but I had 6 client meetings, the conversation is tricky. You see what I'm saying? So when I say that we need to start to hold Black men accountable, I'm like, I have to be honest about it. I don't see why Black women are getting more degrees than Black men. I don't see why Black women are earning more than Black men. I don't think that that's something that should be happening in our society, in our community. I think that it's something that, we need to go ahead and turn around and say, Black man, shoot for higher, bro.
Yeah.
Strive for more.
So let me tell you what I was saying. And I respect you. I do respect you. I'm enjoying the conversation. And I know you're genuine, but here's a fundamental issue. A lot of women sell men social market value. I heard a woman, Marion, tell me, women, they got their degrees, and but men don't care about degrees. We don't care about doctors. We don't care about social status. It means nothing to us overall. It don't mean anything to me, and most of the men I talk to, it doesn't mean anything. What men are looking for is women that are truly feminine, a woman that can speak life into him, a woman that strives to have virtues of a Proverbs 31 woman. Something you were saying earlier, which I do agree with you, women are not ran through. Large percentage of them are ran through, multiple kids by multiple men, and they use their degrees as a placard to more or less think that they're special. Guys don't care about that. And so I get it. You're an intellectual. I get it. You're a smart woman. You love intellectual conversation. I respect that. But then I will ask the question, what can that woman pour into that man to help her help the conversation be more stimulating? Because the thing that kept Black people together years ago, especially in the South, Granddaddy wasn't always the most articulate, but he was a hardworking, reliable man. And what you said a minute ago actually proves my point in part. There are a lot of competent, good men that work for UPS or mailmen, and they're hardworking, blue-collar men. Those men are invisible. Because some, not all, say, they don't have good conversation. But then when the man say, okay, what are you giving me? Then all of a sudden he's a misogynist. So I think it goes both ways. I think there are a lot of good, decent men that are out there and they want to get with decent women. But I think women by nature are highly hypergamous. They look past those men because women by nature want the best of men.
So here's what I will retort to that, because I agree with you 100%. I agree with you, right?
Right. Let me close
However,
this blind. You can keep talking. I'm closing this blind. Go ahead.
what I have realized is that is all easier said than done, right? And the reality of it is that person, the UPS guy, there's a receptionist that might be perfect for him. There's a kindergarten teacher that might be perfect for him, right? Those men tend to keep shooting for higher and higher up. And then when you try to have these conversations, these honest, let's be clear, the man is supposed to be the leader of the household, the leader. So you can't lead someone if you're not at least attempting to be, in a leadership position, right? So again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a higher functioning job. It means, like, are you reading? Right? Like, do you spend time working on yourself? Do you spend time, feeding, learning, gaining wisdom? What are you doing in your life? Are you just working for UPS and then coming home and going back and doing it again the next day? And that's okay. If that's your life, that's okay. There's no judgment in that. That is okay. But what I have found is that, and I am a special case because I am intelligent. I am, high achieving, but I also do firmly believe in conservative and traditional values. I know how to cook. I prefer to clean. Like I respect men highly. I deeply respect them. I hate when I see women disrespect their man, especially out in public. I firmly believe that you don't argue with your man. You don't tell him what you're going to do and etc. You let that man lead. Right. But is he capable of leading? Is he submitted to Christ, first of all? Because if you're submitted to Christ, then Christ says, work on yourself. Christ says, seek wisdom. Those who ask for wisdom, it shall be given unto them. Do you go to UPS and then come home and spend your time on a game? Right? Are you sitting here on, come on. I got the smile out of you because you know I'm right. You're sitting there, they're on this game. Yo, half of these men are smoking weed every day. Let's be clear.
Right. So listen.
My point is what I find, and if I'll just finish with this. I completely agree with you because what happens is this: it's a two-way street, right? We have the men who look at the single mom of two and they don't want anything to do with her because they just decide that she's beneath them. And then we have the woman who might be a single mom of two looking at the UPS worker saying, like, no, that's beneath me. When in reality, those two are aligned. Those two should be figuring how do I make this work with this person? It's when people keep shooting outside of their level, if you will. And I'm being honest with you, like, shooting outside. If I went through my DMs right now and I showed you the caliber of man.
I believe you. No,
I say that with respect. I love my fans. I really, really do. But it's also like, what can I realistically receive from someone if I am not careful to the point where I don't want to be your entire life? I don't want to be the best thing that is going on in your life. Right? Like, we have to be realistic about that. We're supposed to complement each other, not one of us completely hold the other up. And if it's going to be like that, then it's supposed to be the man because he is the leader and provider. So he is, if it's gonna be one of us is just propping up the other, or not propping up, but one of us is a help meet, that's supposed to be me. But I can't be a help meet to someone that doesn't have at least similar, if not higher goals than I do. And that's okay. This is the reality of the difficulties of dating as a high achieving person. So I've accepted it.
Right. So let me go back. Let me go back and analyze that because I'm very analytical like you. And
sure,
I love the conversation. I love the conversation. I love the conversation because you and I having this culture conversation is good. I'm not pretentious. I don't mind you giving me pushback, but I'm going to give you pushback as well. That's part of being genuine. I will argue to the different Marion, that the man that's a UPS worker with no kids getting with the woman that got 2 kids, I think that's beneath him. And I'm going to tell you why. What men got years ago, my dad worked in a paper mill. My dad is 82 years old. I lost my mom last year. My mom had a heart attack. It destroyed me. But guess what my dad? Yeah, thank you, ma'am. But guess what my dad got back then? Mary. My dad got a virgin, wife ready, no kids. That's what my dad got. You got chicks now. I would argue that black men have very low standards because that same black man with a job at UPS, when I travel abroad, he can get an 8. That's going to love him, respect him, honor him, and the dirty word that modern women don't like, obey him. The problem with modern women, I promise you. I promise you. Listen.
Do you know what an 8 is? Give me the celebrity equivalent. Give me the celebrity equivalent.
I'm about listen.
Because I'm like a solid 7 at best. I'm very realistic about that.
Yeah. No, you're solid. No, you are.
You think he's getting an 8?
I'm telling Mary. I'm telling you what I've seen. I'm like Dr. King. My eyes have seen. When I travel to Brazil, when I travel to the DR, average American men, they got decent jobs like UPS. They getting 8s. They getting 7, 8s, 9s, and some even getting 10s in Santiago. And those women love their men. They honor their men because I get it. You know, they don't. You know, let's put it this way: if you think American black men are bad, deal with the men that I've seen in Brazil and DR. Those men are horrible. So my point is,
sure,
we tend to black men in America don't have standards. We have very low standards. We don't have the standards of what our ancestors had. Like my grandmother. My grandmama was a virgin when she got married to my granddaddy. Had all his kids, even though he was married before he got with her, and then he, got married again. My granddad was okay. I'm gonna leave that alone. But anyway, my grandmother was a beautiful woman. No, I'm just being. My grandma. Listen. My grandma was a beautiful woman. But now you got a generation of women, and we got a generation of men that are raised by women with the standards are very low. And the problem I have with modern women marrying is this: they want to tell men what the standard is without becoming the standard. There are women in Nigeria that are billionaires, but guess what? They still submit to their husband's leadership. What they say is that even though I might make $1 billion, my $1 billion does not supersede my responsibility to follow your masculine leadership. Now, I get it. Women by nature are hypergamous. A woman wants the best of men to progenate her offspring and to lead her. I get it. It's in a woman's nature. I get it. I understand it. But conversely, men are somewhat hypergamous too when it comes down to beauty. Men look at beauty, youthfulness, chastity, hip ratio, stomach ratio. We look at all that stuff. Is she kind and feminine? Can she follow my leadership? Does she have emotional regulation? Because one of the things I hear women saying is that men are not emotionally intelligent. I say that's a lie. I would argue men are more emotionally intelligent, the brothers that I know, because they always live their lives around trying to assuage the feelings of that woman. Love songs back in the 90s, men, we used to make love songs like Troop and Guy. We make songs to more or less serenade our women. But you said something that I heard in one of your shows, and it was true. And I agree with you 100%. She gave her power away. Her power was her femininity. Her power was her chastity. Her power was being able to speak life into that man. But men now don't have standards because they don't understand how much power that they have. When men travel abroad, it's a different ball game. Our average brother abroad is treated like a king. I'm not saying foreign women are perfect. Let me finish.
With love and respect, I'm saying this. With real love and respect.
But let me finish first. I want to finish. Now I'll let you cook.
Got it. My apologies.
So I'm not saying that women abroad are perfect. They're not. But those women tend to respect their men more, and they understand they need their men for survival. And I think a time is coming, Marion, when women are, as you were talking about, are going to begin to need their men for survival. I jokingly call it the hopocalypse. And they're going to need good men. But the question is, will they be there? Let me read this cash out real quick, Super Chat, and I'll let you cook. These ladies don't understand that there are more average men than there are the 10% of men that will deal with them. Like God and Kevin Samuels said, you are a helpmate, and there is no shame in that. Go ahead, dear. Go ahead, Marion. Go ahead.
Yes. So one thing, really quickly, I'm actively working on on a documentary about immigration marriage fraud. And I really wish a lot of these men understood that a lot of these women are only interested in you because you're American and because you have citizenship and you can grant them that. And I say that with love and respect. A lot of these men don't understand that they're not coming into that foreign, country on the same playing field as anyone else. You automatically have something that this woman needs. Now, when we say it like that, when we understand that, then what I'm saying still equates, right? Because if I'm me, but I'm in DR, then maybe I will marry the trucker, or maybe I will marry the post office, delivery man, because he also, now he's on a level that is above mine, right? So he is now by nature, by default, going to be considered a more valuable person. And I don't like to get into this high value man thing. I don't care about all of that.
Right.
I don't,
Respect.
Yeah, I think that what's important to me, and maybe this is just me being an intellectual and someone that enjoys intellectual conversation, but I have, found that there's people that think like, oh, well, I can give you, I want to be with her, I can do all of this. And then it's like, okay, well, what does that look like? What does that actually look like? And it's like, well, I have I can maybe do a small house in this small town, and, I'm working this and this. It's like, that's very fair and valid, and that's okay. But if that is not something that would be of interest to me, it is okay for me to say that my life is going to be something different than that, right? Like, it's no shade to that person. What happens is a lot of the same way that women are delusional, and I'm not disagreeing that women are delusional. Women are delusional. I will say that over and over. Women are delusional, but so are some men. They really think, they go to DR and they get themselves an 8 and a 9, and you think that you pulled her because you're just so amazing. No, you pulled her because you can offer her something. Right. And we're not acknowledging that fact. In America, you have mid-level finances at best. To quote Kevin Samuels, you are a, what did he say? You're a 5 at best, right? You're average at best. That's what Kevin Samuels said to one woman. You're average at best. In America, you're average at best. You hop over to Cuba and you have citizenship in the greatest country in the world to offer, all of a sudden you're a high value man. So let's not conflate those two things. The question is, could you pull her if you were a Cuban? If you were coming from the same means as her, right? If you were offering her the same life that she already has, you probably couldn't. That's why they're not going for those men. It's not necessarily because they're all such terrible guys, even though, yes, some of them could be awful. But the reality is, this is that next step up. And this is why I was saying earlier that we're seeing a lot more Black women dating white men. And I have to be honest about that, situation, because it's like, for a Black woman, especially a Black woman that is, college educated, whatever the case, that has, I don't want to call them accolades, but, the tiers, if you will. Black men can say, oh, I don't care about those things. And then you turn around and this white man's like, you're amazing. I don't know why everyone's passing you up. I don't know why the men on my level aren't interested in you, but I want you. I will scoop you up. Right. And it's the other way for Black men. Black men are like, well, look, I'm a valuable Black man. I want a woman that's going to be, a good helpmate to me, that is going to submit, that's not going to argue with me all the time. And I can't find that within Black women. So I'm going to white women because they see the value in me and they're happy to give me what I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, what's happening is there's just this disconnect that's there. We're not finding each other on our same levels. Is what I think.
Yeah. And listen, I do respect that. But let me add some nuance to what you said. And I'm loving the conversation. I love this. I love this conversation. You're fiery and passionate. And I love it. I love the fact you speak truth. You speak how you feel. And I'm going to do the same thing. But you're right. But let me say this. I've always said in the past, and I'll say it now, men understand that when they travel abroad, that women have game. I always tell men that if you're a sucker in America, you'll be a sucker abroad. I say that all the time. I've always said it for the last 5 years. We understand that there's a percentage of women that only want to use you for green card, but I also think it's a cop-out that women use as an ego defense mechanism to give a false narrative that every man that traveled abroad and all those women want green cards. I don't think that's true. Are there some that will use men for green cards? Yes. Just like there are women that travel abroad, there are immigrant men that use them for green cards. It goes both ways. I've seen it both ways. Let me share. Mara, I know a woman that I went to high school with, and she was a PhD. She was a doctor, but I had a friend of mine that liked her. She got all these degrees. She married an average Brad, an average white boy. But when it came down to the brothers, she didn't give them the time of day. So it's almost like, are there white men that want to rock with Black women? Sure. I don't have a problem with it. If a Black woman finds love with a white man, go for it. I don't have a problem with it because I'm not beholden to race loyalty. I tell black men to go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. The problem is when black men say, I want to do what's best for me, then all of a sudden it's a problem. And I don't care about if a black woman find a white man or another man from another ethnicity is going to love her and support her, fine, do it. But look at Sherry Shepherd. When she got with that white dude, he was basically a bum in my opinion. He was an average guy. But those same average black men got to catch hell and jump through hoops to get with women that have status. And that's very hypocritical to me because in my mind, they're looking down on those men. So you're correct. There are some women that use men for green
completely agree with you. And I will only counter with look at Serena Williams because it goes both ways. We have this Serena Williams. Serena tried her hardest with black men. You understand? She begged black men to love her. She was trying anybody. And then she gave up and she found her nice little billionaire and she said, that's it. I'm going to give him this little, this little halvesy baby. And I'm going to take my Ozempic to fit in. And she's just off the rails right now. But she went.
Yeah, she's off the rails. You're right. She
did not. Eve, look at the rapper Eve. Like, I got to say, I don't disagree with you. It actually offends me when I see. And let's be clear. If we're going to talk about somebody accepting less from another race, then we have to acknowledge black men, because you will see a black man walking around with the most basic looking Becky you've ever seen in your life. And he'll be happily married, giving her a bunch of kids all over the place with her, posting her on their social media, etc. And yet, the receptionist couldn't get your time.
Well, I mean, listen, I got brothers in my circle that are blue collar, educated brothers, and they'll give the decent sister a chance. Like I got a daughter, she's at State, she's at NC State. Shout out to my girl Z. She's a virgin. I'm raising to be a godly woman. And actually, I got a sister, a friend of mine. She's a therapist like myself. Her son is 6'5", and he's a virgin. And I'm gonna try to hook them up. I'm trying to go back to the old school.
I think you should.
Right, because I want my baby to get the best. I want her to get the best of the best of the best, because I consider her a 5-star chick. But I think a lot of times, Marion, we don't build our boys like we build our girls, and then we complain about on the back end. Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu wrote a book called The Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys, and then also when I was doing my seminar work in graduate school, we talked about the school to prison pipeline. We say black girl magic, black girl rock, but who's saying black boys rise? So we don't build black boys, but then we get crazy when black boys are reading at 3rd and 4th grade reading levels. But yet you got these women that get with these dusty men that make all these babies. Some of these men, they knew they were dusty. They didn't give the average brother that was a good guy. He was an educated lame. He was boring. But then once they have all these kids, then all of a sudden, I remember I went back to my class reunion, Marion, and some chick told me, a big back said, I liked it at you. I said, no, Heifer. I said, no, Heifer, you didn't like it to me. I liked it. No, you didn't like it to me. You got a big back now and got a bunch of damage and baggage. You can't get with me. I'm sorry. And the crazy thing is I had very high standards in my 20s, very high standards in my 20s.
But let's talk about that.
Right.
Let's break this down, right? Because this is something that I talk about a lot. Well, not on my socials, but within my friends group. Right. What happens, the reason that women are going for the bad guy or the dusty guy or something is because he's more masculine. That's just a fact. A lot of these men, and I say this to my men that are good guys too, my friends that are good guys, you are not standing firmly in your masculinity. The women that are looking and interested in the bad boy, et cetera, the whole reason he's considered a bad boy is because he does what he wants. He doesn't take women's opinions into account. He does what he wants, and women can't figure him out. And so they like that. They're attracted to that. The reality is what we're seeing walking around us is a lot of men who have been squashed by the feminist movement, squashed by this ideology, promoted to women like, oh, you just have to be a paycheck. You just got to make sure you're taking care of me and this. These men have been tamped down to stuff down their masculinity. But if they let that rise back up, if they stand firmly in their masculinity, if they say, I am a man, I'm going to make decisions, I'm going to do, I respect you and I'll take your opinion into account. But if you start acting crazy, I'm not afraid to leave.
Oh, I agree with that. You're right. I agree with that. That's true. I agree with you. You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So that's
You're
why
right.
they don't want them. You know what?
Yeah,
And it's not even about his job. That's why, because if we're talking about the job part, let's be honest. Women will go and date a Amazon delivery man if he's a thug. Right? Like, I don't know a better way to say that. But
no, you're right. You're right.
Booger,
you're right.
yeah,
You're right.
because it's masculinity. So what like, again, conservative values. Men should be masculine. Women should be feminine. Those two things are perfect together. That's why God designed it like that. And when we try to fix things from the outside without starting with that core thing, this is where we have this disconnect. It's going to be impossible to do. Women are standing firmly in a masculine thing. That's why I'm like, look, I'm not saying that my future husband won't be an Amazon delivery man, but he would have to be an exceptional Amazon delivery man, because I think that a person that is going to be my type of person, like there's a masculinity that has to be there. But masculine men aren't people that just take whatever life hands them, right? Like they are go-getters, they're seekers, they're hard workers. Being masculinity encompasses all of these things.
Well, listen, there's some truth to what you're saying. I don't. You're right. But I think the problem with that assessment is that you can't blame a generation of men that were raised by their mammies, and they didn't, because women can't teach men how to be men, and they got with these bad boys that they like. Because I do agree with you 100% that men need to stand firm in their masculinity, and then not you, but then people say, well, why these boys are not masculine? Well, they never seen masculinity. I was a former special ed teacher. I worked in law enforcement for 9 years. I did 2 years as a mental health CEO. I did 7 years with the Department of Juvenile Justice, working with adjudicated youth. They all have one thing in common. They're overly emotional men that happen to be simps. Yeah. And there's a clinical concept called introjection. Introjection says that I identify. Introjection says that I tend to identify and internalize the talking points of my mama. And because of that, I compromise my masculinity. And what I teach men is that you have a God in you. And not only do you have a God in you, it's similar to what Jesus asked Nicodemus when he was on the road to Damascus. He said, Rabbi, teacher, he said, what must I do to enter the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus told Nicodemus, you must be born again. I would tell the black man that if you want a quality woman, you need to tell her she must be born again. Because I would argue that most are not fit to enter the kingdom of a masculine man. I do agree with you about men need to start standing firm in their position and start telling her no, and that women are attracted to masculine energy. I agree with you 100%. I won't disagree with that. But here's the problem with that. When black men travel abroad, sometimes to Japan and the Philippines, those average guys are just average men. And those women still love them and acquiesce to them, and they don't have to do all these theatrics to get the honor and respect of a man. So some would say it's hyper-masculinity. I don't know. But they could be in their basic average masculinity. Those same women give them the same respect. They don't challenge their masculinity because there are environments in place where those women have been conditioned and trained to be better suitable. And so it's not that men don't want to get married.
Let me give you my... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not that they don't want to get married, because they do. Let me read this. Let me read the super chat real quick, and I'm gonna let you cook. Shout out to my doctor. He's a doctor. This is my friend, Dr. Ron. He's a doctor. He said, "Password rules forever. MAGA women are compromised too." I'll let him explain that. And then shout out to Zan Kankana, but he's a PhD, very prominent school here in North Carolina. Him and our boys. I'm going to show you something. I did this clip about 4 years ago. Tell me what you think, and then because I'm loving this, man. I love you. Fire.
Well, wait. Really quickly before you do that, I do want to say this. What happens is this, right? Mm-hmm. What we're talking about is there's a restructuring that needs to happen within the Black community, and it's a two-sided restructuring, right? Mm-hmm. So you're saying that it's easier for these men to go overseas and grab a woman. It's because they were not raised in the same Black America that broke Black men, right? So we have to be honest, because when we're talking about the Black men that were raised by single mothers, we have to remember that Black women were also being raised by those same single mothers.
I agree.
And now we have a generation that didn't grow up in marriage-minded households, that didn't grow up seeing a father and a mother work together to raise the children. They didn't grow up seeing, healthy masculinity and healthy femininity. So we can't blame the same way that Black men don't want to be blamed, or, you know, if you want me to give Black men this allowance for being less, you know, masculine or being too emotional because they were raised by their mother, you have to also give Black women that allowance for not having the self-respect that would have come from being raised by a good father. That's why I'm so different. I had a great father in my life. And even then, I still had to go out of my way to come to meet Christ. And I will say, like, I will say that over and over and over. All of this is fixed if we come back to Christ. All of this is in the word. All of it teaches us who we're supposed to be, what he designed for all of us to be. So
I agree 100%. Right.
Until we do that, we're always going to have issues. But I think that it's unfair. And again, like, it would be beautiful if we said, you know what? You're a hot mess. You're a hot mess. Let's fix each other. Instead of me going to white people and you going overseas, let's find a way to tolerate and have patience with each other. One of my first posts that ever went viral, it was just words, and it just said, Black men deserve patience from Black women, and Black women deserve patience from Black men. And that's what we have to remember, that we are together trying to correct something that has been so deeply wounded and damaged. And when we keep giving up on each other, we will not see the other side of this tunnel. We will just die inside of it.
But see, and I love what you said, but here's the problem. At least you are willing to self-introspect, self-reflect, self-discover, and then recover. You're open to that. Most are not open to that. You have an amenable mind to change and then take feedback. Most are not. And I had a conversation with Dr. Helen Smith. She's a renowned author. She wrote the book called Men on Strike. And her latest book is called His Side. And she wrote a book called Men on Strike about 13 years ago, Marion. And she was saying that it's not that men are on strike. She said men, they don't care anymore. They just checked out. They don't care. And it's not because they don't want to care, but the world forgot to ask men what they want. We you know, for the last 60 years, you know, I'm Gen X strong. We saw Sally Jesse Raphael. We saw all the pundits, you know, denigrating the average. You know, they took the dusted men, or the jocks, or the pretty boys, the guys that were getting women pregnant, lying to them and telling them they were going to love them. The women that they wanted, you know, the men that women were most attracted to. And then the average guys that were just good dudes, they were decent, they were looked down upon, or they were lames and boring. And then 10, 15, 20 years later, where she got a bunch of bodies and, you know, she got a bunch of kids, and all of a sudden, you know, Black men are not doing what they're supposed to do. I take great umbrage with that, because I've seen that and I saw it myself. And so it's not the Black men. I know they love Black women. The brothers that travel abroad, they're not dealing with they're dealing with Black women from the diaspora. So people think that they got this false notion that Black men don't want Black women. No, Black men want Black women, but they want Black women on their terms. The problem is so many Black women for years have told Black men what the standard is without becoming the standard. And a masculine woman don't tell men what the standard is. That's very masculine when you try to tell a man what the standard is. You become the standard and let your femininity be a compass that will corral that man into a good relationship. No woman gonna tell me what the standard is. You're gonna become the standard, because I know what my worth is. I know what my worth is. Even if I was a UPS driver, or if I was a bum on the bridge, I know what my standard is.
Okay, but really quickly, I need you in this moment to understand that this is a masculine mindset. This is what so many of these men are missing.
Right, respect.
This is my entire point. A man, a UPS man, or, you know, an Amazon delivery, or what, and I'm only saying that because it's a very easy job to get. There's no shade towards that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I used to joke, like, I don't leave my house, so my husband's probably going to work for UPS. That's the only way I'm gonna meet him, because I literally am home all the time. So there's no shade towards the delivery men, but saying, like, if self-confidence is part of a man living in masculinity, and self-confidence is a part of a woman living in femininity, right? Having the self-confidence to know that I don't have to be hard, I don't have to be rough, I don't have to be loud to get my point across, I don't have to be disrespectful to someone to get them to respect me, right? That's a self-confidence that women need to embody as well. But for men, like, a lot of them don't know this about themselves. A lot of them don't perceive themselves as valuable. A lot of them don't perceive their opinion as worthy of being heard. And again, that is looped in with the femininity or feminist movement that really ruined everybody, right?
No,
I
agree with that. Yeah.
Completely agree with you.
I agree with that.
When we're talking about who will be happy, like I really think a lot of single men, and I have to say this, that's the one thing. These numbers out here heavily favor the men.
Yes.
So if a man is single, there's a reason. It's either because he literally is crazy and weird, or it's because he is not going for the women that are interested in him. But it's not a question of whether or not there's enough women. That's not the question.
Right. No, you're right. If 2 million black women got married today, if every black woman got married, there'll be 2 million that will be single without a husband. And by 2030, it's going to accelerate. It's going to accelerate marrying by 2030.
Exactly.
Men are going to be singing that song by Patty LaBelle, On My Own. They're going to be singing that song by Patty, On My Own.
I'm telling you.
But I'm loving the conversation. I love your fire, man. I like that Brooklyn fire, man. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love your energy. I'm going to show you something. I hope it don't fall off. This has been extremely good. I got to bring you back again too. I love your energy. Man. I hope you come back. But I love your energy. All right, no doubt. All right, hold tight. All right, so you and I talked about systemic racism. So the quest with systemic racism is that black people were successful in spite of. It doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It doesn't mean there wasn't redlining. It doesn't mean that there were not systemic barriers in place. But the problem that some people have with like I said, I am conservative. I did vote conservative. A lot of the brothers that you're listening to, they voted for Trump. A lot of the brothers in my panel tonight, they voted for Trump, believe it or not. I know a lot of people don't believe it, but they voted for Trump. But they didn't vote for Trump because they saw Trump as the panacea. They just thought Trump was policy that make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read his that in a minute. But anyway, so historical systemic racism, no colors allowed, jobs, whites only, whatever. What do you sometimes cringe where some conservative people minimize the impact of historical systemic racism? What do you say about that? Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. It does frustrate me when people just pretend like history doesn't exist. I feel like that's just silly. And it doesn't help us to ignore that or to try to dispel that, right? But I will say that I'm right down the line. I'm right in the middle of this debate, because as much as we definitely had systemic racism, we also had a lot more wins than people tend to celebrate, right? And what frustrates me about that is when we perpetually focus on the hardships or on the difficulties, we don't talk about the wins. So
I agree
for
with
instance, my own grandfather, my father's father, there's a park named after my family in Charleston, South Carolina, where my dad is from. Because my grandfather petitioned the city, went around and got, hundreds and if not thousands of signatures of the residents there, and petitioned the city to bring paved roads, electricity and plumbing into their neighborhood, right? And so again, this is not me saying that systemic racism didn't exist. Obviously it did, but it was something that portions of us did get over or get past or push past. And also I believe that every single person, I've said this, every person, every ethnic group, every being, every human has something that they have to get over and get past, and something that they either push through or they allow to slow them down and stop them. So again, I completely agree. I'm a real estate agent by trade. So I know all about redlining. I know all about steering, etc. But I also look at it, I look at it the other way around, right? Because what happened once we got rid of redlining and steering? We got gentrification, right? Because the moment that we said, oh, well, it's not fair to separate people based on race, it's like, okay, cool. Let's remove that law. And now who can afford whose neighborhood more? Is it more that Black people can afford to live in the white neighborhood? No, it's more so that white people can afford to live in the Black neighborhood, or can look and see those Black houses as cheaper and potentially worth developing, right? So we got these things that were changed, but we also didn't realize how much was actually because of us being othered. We had each other and we focused on each other. So when I look at things like, oh, well, you couldn't get a loan, completely agree. And that's messed up. You couldn't get a loan. Could you find a way to raise that money within the community, right? Because Jewish people couldn't get loans too. And they went and raised money within the community. That's why they invented entire industries when no one would hire them. That people don't understand that Hollywood started with the Jews because no one would hire the Jews. So they said, we're going to figure out something else. I guess we're going to have to go into entertainment because no one wants to hire us in their everyday jobs. Right.
Right.
So when I look at this again, not discrediting it ever, never going to discredit it. But I also do believe that if we had a conversation where instead of talking about how much we've been held back, we talked about it more as we have overcome this, then we'll see a generation that truly remembers and understands that no one owes us anything. They're not trying to give us anything. No, and would we do it in the other way? Would we do it other way around? Would we? If Black people were the majority in this country, and then we saw another ethnic group trying to take land, trying to take opportunities from our kids, would we go ahead and just be like, oh yeah, it's fine? Probably not. Let's be honest.
Listen, I believe in reparations. I think it's owed to the Black people of African descent. My bloodline goes back to the eastern part of North Carolina, where I can trace my roots back to the Hope Plantation in eastern North Carolina. Too. Right. Yeah. And so most Black people can trace their roots. So,
but what about my white portion of me, right? Like, what about because my dad is definitely South Carolina Geechee descendant of slaves, right? But my mom was a mutt, and we have no idea what was in her. She's very fair skinned, etc. Right. So how do we, at what about someone like Tia and Tamara Mowry, or Tracy Ellis Ross? How much do they get? You know what I mean? What about the Black people that own slaves? Are they paying? Do we look into those families and say, actually, your family owns slaves, so now you have to pay? Who pays the reparations? Is it just Black people paying, taxes that are going to turn around and be given back to Black people? And also, let's be honest, reparations are going to end terribly for the Black community if we don't sit down and financially educate our kids first.
I agree with that. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
You're right.
We got a lot to change before we ask for a big up, if that makes sense. We have a lot to prepare for first.
Right. Yeah, I don't think right now you can give Day and Man no reparations. They'll just spend it and and blow it in stupid stuff. So I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. Man and Raekwon don't need reparations without financial literacy. So my man Doc said, he's a doc, he's a good friend of mine. He said, MAGA women are recovering feminists, passport bros never fail. What would you say about that? I knew you were in the DNC one time. Were you ever a feminist, Marion, or you never were?
No, I was definitely a feminist. He's completely right. He's 100%
right.
Oh,
he's right. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Cool. And it's not our fault, right? And when I say MAGA, like women, this is the realities of what life looks like when you finally wake up out of something. Right? Like we all are part of, or we're beholden to, or the result of whatever we're raised in and whatever ideology finds us along the way. Right. So I'm a college educated Black woman, of course. And I went to college during the Obama, like I voted for Obama. He was my first vote ever. Happily. I was so excited that I was 18 so I could vote for Obama. Right. And I learned all types of crazy feminist, rhetoric in college, because that's where they find people. That's where they feed this into us. And that is definitely a huge reason why so many, especially Black women, have these extremely feminist, ideals and are, in this mindset that men are the problem and men are these oppressors and blah, 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 blah. So he's 100% right. Me, when I say MAGA, make America great again, I always say you can put a silent B in there, right? Make Black America great again. I firmly believe that there was a portion of time in this country where we had better values and therefore we had better results.
Yes.
And I know from personal experience, I would love to have skipped that portion of my life when I was a feminist and when I thought it was cute to be outside and when I thought it was okay to be, arguing with men and all of this craziness. I wish I could go back and redo that and root myself in feminist or root myself in conservative values from then. So he's right.
So I love your honesty. I want to share something with you. I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to show you a clip. I was part of a documentary years ago. You can probably go look at it and laugh at it. But hold tight. Let me show you something real quick. Tell me what you think about this, Mary. Hold tight.
When you date a woman and she may be a potential wife, it's a competition thing all the way. I can't take it no more.
They feel propped up because they feel more beholden to the government. And then their man comes second. That's why they figure that they're strong, independent, don't need no man because they have the government.
Because the men are failing us, to be honest. Guys thinking about themselves and they'll think about you after you react.
You don't hear anything about being good wives and all this other stuff. What you hear is you strong and you independent. You can do it on your own. You got black girl magic, black girl walk, but you ain't said nothing about black family.
My mother is like what they consider to be the strong black woman. I feel like I projected that onto the guys that I dated.
Ladies have no idea how stiff their competition really is. You have no clue how black men are viewed in the rest of the world. We are the #1 most sexually desired man on the face of this planet.
They would call Jesus Dusty if he was here living in America because of the gross narcissism that a lot of our women have.
I did this documentary about 3 years ago with a brother from New York named Al Grease. That's my homie. He's from New York. And let me tell you something, Mary. I'm loving this conversation. Here's what a lot of men are afraid of. And I love your honesty. I love your honesty. Trad cons versus trad cons. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. You got traditional conservative women, and then you got traditional conservative women that are really charlatans. One of the biggest fears that men have is that the women that are trying to say they're traditional and conservative, they're not really conservative. They're just in survival mode. I'm not saying that's you, but there are some that have done that. I think some believe that Candace Owens is like that, even though she married a rich white guy. Not in survival mode, but a lot of men's greatest fear is that women that call themselves traditional conservatives are not really conservative. They're just wearing a veneer because they're in survival mode, not you. How would you respond to that?
Well, I guess I would have to ask you I need you to dive deeper. So you're saying that like what would make the okay. The question is, right, like are we saying that conservative values means that women should want to be stay-at-home moms? Like is that in your mind what conservative values should equate to when it comes to women?
No. Well, that's a part of it. I'm just talking about the whole veneer, the whole nuance. I mean, the whole ambiance of women that are what some men call chameleons. They're not really traditional conservative women. That's why I gave the preface, traditional conservative, trad cons versus women acting like they're conservative, but they're really it's a con game. That's what I mean by that. Okay. Traditional women that are really genuinely traditional women that were raised right and they're trying to serve the men versus women that maybe were recovering feminists that are acting like they're traditional, but they're not. It's just a grift or a hoax or a heist for whatever reason. I'm not saying that's you, but how would you respond?
No, I'm hearing you. I haven't considered that. So I'm actually I'm processing. I think that that's a fascinating way to look at it. I would say that I don't know enough conservative women that are not, in my opinion, truly conservative for me to say that that is a real problem. But I also can't, I won't dismiss a man's lived experience, right? If he's saying look, I try to find me a conservative woman and then next thing I know, she still wants to be out with her girlfriends all the time, or she's still arguing with me about everything, or she's still, doesn't want to let me lead or whatever. I don't know enough people for me to say that that's a real issue. I think that it's so this person, I'm going to say this because it's just funny and it fits. This person underneath a comment or underneath a video, I saw a video of somebody that had come to Christ, right? It was a woman that had come to Christ. One of the comments said, a hoe's final form is a woman of God.
Well, listen. They call it listen. I'm glad you said that, Mary. That's fair. That's funny.
Yo.
They call it the hold to Jesus pipeline. That's what they call it.
It's a thing, but at first I was a little bit offended because I was like, well, that's a rude thing to say. But then I said, wait a minute, that's scripture. Because look at Rahab, right? That is scripture. Let's look at the prostitute that well, she wasn't necessarily a prostitute, but the woman by the well, right? Who had the 5 husbands, etc. Like, we got to look at the realities of the fact that Jesus sat with prostitutes. So saying that to say, what I know to be true is that people can have and should have genuine heart posture changes, right? So I do believe that a lot of former feminists like myself have a come to Jesus moment and realize this is stupid. I've been lied to, right? And like, then you get pissed off and mad, and then you realize, wait a minute, no, I have to do something to stop the next generation from falling into this trap as well. And what I can do is be honest and open and vocal about how this is a lie, and this avenue is just way better, way more advantageous for all of us. But in regards to women faking it, I'm sure that has to happen. I'm sure.
Well, it's a concept that I created called scapegoating Jesus. They use Jesus as a scapegoat to hide away their sins. I'm not saying that God will not, forgive people for sin, because God does. Christ loves, he forgives of sin. I do believe that. But you're going to laugh at this. But what happens a lot of times, Marion, is that they use Jesus as a scapegoat to get a good man with some good benefits after they were, like you were saying, they were lied to by the feminist movement. They gave all their virtue away. Some of these chicks got hot bodies. And then they'll come back and try to hit a shot at the buzzer talking about, oh, happy day when Jesus washed my sins away. And I'm not saying that they're not some genuine people, but the problem is they use Jesus as a scapegoat. And I was once a superintendent in my church, and they try to make good men and make bad choices feel bad and marry these women. Just like I don't believe a woman should wife up a man that got a big stomach, he's geriatric, he messed his life up, and now he wants a young, pretty woman to marry him. I don't believe that man deserves that woman. You messed your life up, you don't deserve a woman like that. You don't have no ambition, you're a bum, and you just want a woman to come take care of you after you hoard through a bunch of women in your 20s. I don't believe.
Come on, talk about it.
Right. I don't believe that kind of man deserves a good woman either. But a lot of times, and you're gonna laugh at this because I am a comedian, those women go and say, oh, the Lord, and we know Jesus forgives, but is she genuinely saved? Because I jokingly say this. I say your soul might be saved, but your box is still a sinner. That box is still standing in need of prayer. That box needs to go to the altar because that box is still a sinner.
Jesus Christ.
That box is still a sinner, Marion. It's still a sinner. And then
it's not the alabaster box.
It ain't the alabaster box. It's the Popeye's chicken box. That's what it is. Because they been in it, Raekwon. Hold up, Mary. This is what's been in that box, Mary. Hold on for a minute. You're gonna laugh at this. This is what's been in that box. Hold tight.
Kill some of my mama. Bro, that's on my market. That's on my market. That's on my.
Oh yeah, they man said on my mama, some old sep talking about on my mama. That's what's been in that box. And now they trying to say, oh, God forgave me, so you should take me as I am. But watch this. Let's say if a man came to you, Mary, and he said, listen, I love Christ. I was in sin. The Lord forgave me. And I used to mess with men's with a Z, not with an S, but men's with a Z on the end. And he said, the Lord forgave me, Mary. Well, hold on. Because, the Lord does forgive. God don't, but guess what? Marion being the woman that she is, if a man came to Marion and said, I don't like men's no more with a Z, you're not going to take that man serious. You're going to look at that man and tell him, you need to go talk to Jesus.
Not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men's no more. I said I like women.
If a man like that came to you and said he don't like men's no more with a Z on the end, and he said the Lord saved him, and that was in his past. Could you give that man grace? If he was a hardworking man, he made good money. Could you give that man grace, or you could?
God, this is such a loaded question.
I know it's loaded. I know it's loaded.
Jesus. You know what? I will say this. I would not have that as my preference ever, but we must also remember scripture. I don't know if it was who was it? I can't remember the exact prophet, but one, there was a prophet that God was it Jeremiah? No,
I know you. I know what you're talking about. Go marry a whore.
There was a prophet that God told to marry a hooker, and he had a bunch of kids by her. Now, saying that to say, would I choose that guy for me? No. If God himself came and said, this is part of your calling, I need you to do this for the team, then sure, right?
Right.
Do I believe in the redemptive power of Christ? Because I want to make it clear, especially if we have any men here watching that have had that past, that is that their past. It will be more difficult for you to find a woman, but that does not mean that you cannot find a woman. And that does not mean that you did the wrong thing by coming to Christ and releasing that spirit of homosexuality off of your life. Okay. God has the final say. And I truly do believe that he has full redemptive power. And I want to just sprinkle this on top. I just really need to sprinkle this. Like,
go ahead.
The concept of a man having been with men, that's a extreme, but there's a lot of really, really nasty hoe men out here that have been with hundreds of women, like hundreds. And then they decide it's time for me to go ahead and lock it up. You have men, even though, maybe he makes good money, whatever, but he's got 3 kids by 3 different women. So we have to be realistic about what are these men asking women to put up with as well. Because when you start to date somebody and he has multiple kids by multiple different women, and you're realizing like, yo, that's the rest of my life. If I marry this man, the rest of and let's talk about that. Let's just note that.
No, I don't have a problem with you saying. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, listen, can God forgive people?
A lot of those men think that they should still have some virginal woman. A lot of those men are out there thinking, I just need me this perfect, and I'm like, brother.
Right. No, listen, I agree with you. You're 100% correct. But watch this. If you met a man, Marion, he was good looking, he was your phenotype. I don't know what your phenotype is. But let's say your phenotype. You're
unfortunately tall, dark, and handsome. Unfortunately, I'm very basic like that. Yep. It is what it is. I gotta tell the truth.
Shout out to Team Chocolate. Now you're about, how tall are you? About 5 what? 5?
I'm 5'6".
Oh, you're tall. You're tall for a woman. And so, you're above average height. So
yeah.
Let's say if you got your genetic phenotype, say he's 6'4", highly educated. He got that Janation quality you like. He got that mouthpiece is more crisper than the serpent in the garden. He got a very crisp mouthpiece. But he said, listen, Mary, before I came to Christ, I was knocking him down. He ain't got no disease. He's clean. But he's everything you want in a man. Financially sound, 6'4", 6'5", highly educated. But he said, I'm dedicated to you. You're my queen. I love you. And my focus is Christ now. Could you marry that man?
I'm banking on it. What do you mean? I feel like that's the only. Let me be clear. I am a single mother. I am a logical, realistic person. Okay, even though I know that I'm awesome and I'm fantastic and people love talking to me and I'm cute and I, physically I got it going on. I know that I'm a single mom. I know the barometer. I always say it like this. This is what I say. Hold on, there's like a motorcycle. I know I am a logical person. I think people would get by better in life being logical and real and honest with themselves. For me, I think that my future husband is getting his divorce like right now. Like he's actively he's in the middle of those divorce proceedings, and I am okay with that. I'm being patient. I'm waiting. Or he's wrapping up his whole phase. and he's getting ready to turn it around sooner or later, right? I'm praying for him. I say, God, just pull him out the streets. Pull him out the streets.
Right, respect.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're, but we have to look at, again, this is what I'm saying when I say that, like, we have to look across the aisle. We can't be looking up and down, right? I know myself. Like, I think about this, like, I've been hit on by basketball players. I won't name names, but NBA players of certain seasons. But the people that were actually interested in actually dating me were overseas basketball players. So you got to be realistic. You got to know who what's your target market. I'm not basketball player wife attractive. I'm okay with that. I can pull a nice, guy that played in Serbia for like 6 years. Like he's 6'7", 6'8", but he never made more than six figures, right? I'm okay with that. I know who I am and what I am. It's okay. But I'm saying that to say, all jokes aside, I really think that most people, especially men, again, if a man is complaining about how he's been single for years and years and years, it's usually because you're just not looking in the pool of women that are interested. Women have it way harder finding a man that makes sense for them. Men, the women are everywhere. You want a traditional wife, you might just have to deal with a little bit of a stomach. Maybe she doesn't have, the model face. Maybe she's a solid 6 or something, but she exists. She's out there. Maybe she's just, I don't know, corny. Maybe she's a little lame. Maybe she's not interesting. Maybe she's not that smart, or, maybe she's not a heavy reader, but she can cook for you and she'll love the crap out of you. But people don't look on their level, and that's dangerous.
I agree with that. I agree with you 100%. I think you have more women doing that than men. I think men are more. For sure. Men tend to be more rational. Women are not. You got these. No,
this is why I'm saying, like, when I see a man that complains about not being able to find a woman, I think that I'm like, okay, you're something's up, because there's too many women out there. Women, I know it's either delusion or just extreme pickiness. And I always tell women, you're single because you are picky. That's just the reality. If you don't want to be single, there's some man in your DMs, there's some older man looking for a PYT, there's somebody that is interested in you. But when it comes to men, they have actual, real, qualified options that they're overlooking by, like, left and right, in my opinion.
Yeah, in some cases, I think that might be true. But I think men now are adjusting. They're raising the standard up. A lot of men just don't care anymore. They're indifferent. They don't care. They say, I'm good. I don't even want no relationship. And a lot of times the women that they want, the ones that they really want, Marion, is that they tend to have a feminist worldview, where they challenge his masculine authority. Or some of them have been ran through by a lot of men. They've been with a lot of men. And guys have waited that time and did the work. They said, "Nah, I'm good. I'd rather be single." And then another thing that people are not talking about, they're not talking about how the current court systems are very onerous towards men, no fault divorce. And a lot of guys saying, "Till the laws change, I'm not getting married." It's not that because they don't want to get married, but when my dad married my mom, they didn't have the laws that they have now. And so men are saying, "Nah, I'm not taking that risk. I'm good." I see it all the time in my practice. Men that have been destroyed by no fault divorce, men that have been trapped by paternity fraud, men that got with women that listen, Mary, and they said they love the Lord, but they stopped giving them sex, and then they said that you better not go out here and cheat. Well, that would never happen. If you close your legs, I'm gonna close my wallet.
Listen to me. When I say, let me just quickly note on that. I firmly believe that if a man is not getting some from his wife, that is grounds for divorce.
I totally agree with you. Yes, ma'am. I totally agree. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, Mary. You and I grew up in the holiness church. They would say, "Well, that ain't scripture." Well, listen,
it sure is scripture.
I think
Paul said that.
Right. I agree with you on the grounds of abandonment. And they might say, "Well, the Bible's talking about physical abandonment," but when you're derelict in your duty as a wife, you've abandoned your duties as a wife.
Exactly. That's part of the duties. It's right there. It says, "Do not withhold yourself from your partner" on both ways.
Right.
Paul wrote it in there. Your body is not yours. It is your spouse's. So for you to be withholding these things, especially, and this is another thing that I say, like, I feel like a lot of these men are not standing firmly in their masculinity, because
I agree with that. I agree.
If you're standing firmly in that, there's not this isn't a conversation. I really feel like that. I feel like this is not a realistic conversation. A man would be like, look, I'm not afraid to leave. A lot of women will just, withhold because they just don't think that man's going anywhere. And then
that's true.
He goes somewhere, and then they want to act shocked. They want to be the. Okay, let me actually really quick. This actually ties into what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of men get with these women that don't actually like them. Let me be.
I agree with you 100%.
They get with women.
I totally agree.
See them as a security blanket.
Yes, right. You're right. 100%
you're my
correct.
Security blanket. You just, you're a provider, so I'm gonna get with the provider, and he's gonna take care of me. He has money, but I don't like this man that much. I'm not attracted to this man that much. I'm not that into him. So then, once she has you, she starts easing back on what she was giving you, because she don't feel like she needs to anymore, and she didn't like you that much.
Very true.
And a lot of these guys,
a
lot of these guys, if they were to be honest with themselves and say, you know what, let me go ahead and let go of the baddie. I'm not going to try and get the baddie with the 30-inch bust down and the BBL. I'm going to let her go. But I will go ahead and pay more attention to Tammy sitting over there in accounting, who always brings me hot coffee because she knows that I like my coffee hot. She's gonna make sure you're taken care of in the bedroom. You understand?
But I think a lot of men would get with Tammy, but it's hard to find Tammys. I don't think there are a a lot of Tammys.
Tammy's everywhere, bro.
You think so? I don't know. I don't know, Mary. I don't know. Maybe I'm not okay. Maybe your circle of women. Maybe you saying I don't know. I think if there were more Tammys, because you're right. There are men that go with the ones that got the BBLs and the bust down and the snake raptor claws and the BBLs that stink, and the rejuvenated vagina. That's true. That part is true.
That's true.
but
I'm saying, like, a lot of people just a lot of their complaints, a lot of their stuff is because they're just not waiting to actually get with someone that is good for them and that they can actually like back. I think women need to get with a man that they like. I think men need to get with a woman that likes them. If we did it like that, everybody would be happy, because men can find a way to be really into a woman. Like that's just what I've come to see. Right. He'd be like, look, she's making sure that I'm fed, and she's making sure, and we know this because we see how many men are like happily with very fat women. Let's be honest, or very, less than perfectly attractive women. It's like, yeah, there might be, you might be like, oh, I could have gotten with this one who was a little bit cuter, but she's a wonderful woman, a good wife. I really love her. And woman, if she's into you, you're going to be okay in the bedroom. Y'all are going to be fine. You're going to have great time.
Well, I think they do that, Marion, because that's all they know. Now, you're going to laugh at this. There were some men that, and I'm not saying this is right. Let me preface that by saying it wasn't right. But there was some men that went abroad, and they had these average wives, and then once they went abroad, they divorced their wives and got with the foreign women, because those women were finer and flatter stomachs and all of that good stuff. Let me tell you something. The beauty density in foreign countries is out of this world. Now, I know the Bible says that charm is vain and beauty is fleeting, but who can find a virtuous woman? I don't think a man should just look at beauty alone, because beauty is fleeting. You want to find a woman with good qualities, but that's like saying, I was putting some money in the bank, Mary. I've been stacking my money for a while, and so I was joking with the lady at the counter. I said, so what would you rather have, a man that had multiple women on the side, but he took good care of you, or would you rather have a woman that's a man that's an average man and a good man, but he doesn't have a lot of money? What do you think she said?
I mean, considering the fact that I'm the complete opposite of most women, I'm going to assume that she said she's going to go with the rich guy who cheats. So,
right. Yeah, and that's wrong. Listen,
I will be damned.
You took your prayer cloth off your head, Mary. She said,
I can't. That's one.
And listen, it's wrong. I mean, but my point is, I was shocked that she said it, because I was talking to the older lady. I'm like, well, So that makes to prove my point that a lot of times the average Joe, women don't want the average man that's a hardworking, good man. They want the top tier man that got money and status and what other women want. And I think that's wrong. I think there are a lot of invisible men, in my opinion, that women bypass and overlook. And those men, just suffer in silence. They don't say anything. They hold their heads down. And what happens a lot of times when they get older, Marion, let's say she got with an athlete, Dexter St. Jacques, and Dexter blew her back out and gave her mind-blowing orgasms. Her toes were throwing up gang signs, or her toes like that witch on the Wizard of Oz. By the time she get with that man, she just seen Dexter. She just seen the average guy as a holdover. She's not sexually attracted to him, and neither is she attracted to him in general. He's just a placard for finances. And many times those women don't give those men sex. They don't give them sex. That man can't perform like the 6'5", 6'8" basketball player that made her toes curl. And so it's not the man's fault.
I mean, that's actually something that, I was actually just saying that to somebody the other day. Like what is a huge issue, especially when it comes to women, I don't want to say even being promiscuous. You can't say it promiscuous, but just having sex out of marriage. It's like you're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to have anything to compare your husband to.
That's right.
Right?
You're
and vice versa. Men, we have to acknowledge that men have the same thing.
You're right. You're right. I agree with that. I agree with you. Listen, I always tell people that fornication, people always talking about cheating. Fornication is pre-cheating because you're cheating on your future husband, and adultery is post-cheating. So it's both cheating. Some people get on their high moral rock and talk about adultery or fornication, whatever. But if you gave your body to a man that wasn't your husband, you cheated. You cheated on your husband because your body was supposed to be for him and him alone. Some of these same women, after they had all their fun in college, swinging on chandeliers and having fun, they want to give their husbands boring missionary Patrick the Starfish sex. They want him to pay all the bills. You got to pay all the bills, and he's not giving fair exchange because the social contract said it was supposed to be mutual sexual exclusivity. Your husband, him alone, all your kids by him,
and vice versa. Let's talk about
and vice versa. Right? I don't.
Let's talk about the men's side, because here's what happens. Let's also talk about the reality of this. What happens also with that man, with those men that are out here sleeping with however many women and are performing well, etc. What is happening is that because it's so easy for them to get that, they are placating romance or love with simple, sexual gratification. And a lot of them end up with a lot of mental hangups. They're so not turned off to the idea of marriage, but they don't see a value in it, because you can get 4 or 5 different women to come over and do all the things that a wife is supposed to do anyway. And I'm not just even talking about in the bedroom. I'm talking about these women will go and, be doing this man's laundry and cooking this man food and taking care of the house and cleaning and go and babysit his kids or something, because, he's giving them something that they want. But for him, he doesn't have any need for marriage in his mind. And so if that same man who didn't know that he was going to be, great in bed until he ends up being, having that experience, if that same man had been told by somebody, no, like, don't go out there and sow your royal oats, come back, wait for one woman, make that one woman very happy, everyone would be happier. Everyone would be happier. In the world that God designed, everyone would be happier, because no one would have any anything to compare other people with on both sides. And it wouldn't be these men that are saying like, oh my God, just be, sleeping with one woman for the rest of my life. I can't imagine. It wouldn't even be a thought. You would be completely comfortable and happy with the idea of having one wife, one woman forever.
Right. And I got some clips that you had, and this is getting good. From rational ladies like your grandmother and your great-grandmother to hoflation. Hoflation is a term that I created. I didn't hear nobody talking about it until I said it. And I'm being honest, bigger content creators, I never heard the term. I had a friend of mine named Peaceful Life, and he was talking about relationship capitalism. And so hoflation basically said that average subpar women with a bunch of bodies think they deserve the top tier men or the best of men. And now they want to charge a man a hoe tax. That's another term that I created. They want to charge him a hoe tax where he got to pay more for less. And what a lot of men are saying, nah, I'm good. Now, if you look at this back in the 60s, Mary, you talk a lot about social dynamics. The percentage of women that had out of wedlock kids was extremely low. It was extremely low. And as you can tell, you begin to see a very sharp, precipitous decline of women having out of wedlock kids by multiple men. And now it's to the point where a large percentage of women now have multiple kids by multiple men. And when a lot of men say, nah, I'm good. I'm not putting no ring on your finger. I'm not marrying. I'm not paying full price for no used cat. I'm just not. That's what a lot of guys are saying. But let me show you something real quick. Hold tight. So I call it the Hopocalypse, and I use Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. Because AI is about to take over. AI is taking over, Mary. It's coming, it's taking over. And right now, it's going to be a whole apocalypse because according to the Bible in the book of Isaiah, it said there will be 7 women to one man.
Yeah, for one man.
Am I talking right? Am I talking right?
Yep.
7 women to one man.
That is scripture.
And a lot of these chicks, now I don't know if it was in context of what's going to happen in the end times, but a lot of these chicks don't understand you don't have the power. Listen, back in the day, Mary, from Gen X, average women got with average men. They didn't count a robbery to cook that man a meal. It was just normal. That man didn't count a robbery to take his woman out to dinner and pay for it. Right. That's how we got down to Gen X in the South. It won't not Mary to be on I-95 South or I-64 East, West, going to Raleigh, Durham, playing Anita Baker, Rhythm of Love, or playing some John P. Key.
I would just quickly note though. Here's one thing, and this is just me interjecting with this because it's important to note. Women are still expected to cook, clean, take care of the kids, but men stopped building shit. And that is a big problem. We need y'all. Like I'm telling you, if men would build something, just go build something. Go learn how to use a power tool. Build something. I'm so serious. You gotta build something because they think that all they gotta do is go to work and come home and that's supposed to be enough. Unfortunately, that is not the reality of what humans, naturally are supposed to work together. My grandfather built their home, built it with his own 2 hands, built the house, right? Like men need to come back to doing masculine things. Can you build? Can you fix things? Can you do yard work? Can you change my tire? Like, do you know how to do? I was having this conversation with a friend and I was like, they were like, oh, well, I might not be able to change a tire, but I have the money to call the person to come out and do it. I'm like, okay, cool. So that means that you're going to get with a wife who says, well, I can't cook, but I can order Uber Eats. No.
Well, listen. Let me say this. You're going to laugh at this. I would say the men have built the appliances these lazy women don't want to use. Men built those appliances for those women. I'm being funny. I know what you mean. You mean like literally manually
make something.
I know what you're talking. I'm being funny.
These women aren't cooking, cleaning, or doing laundry. Well, I cook, clean, and do laundry. I don't understand women that don't do that. I think that if a woman complains about doing that for her husband, then that means that her house must be dirty. Because what do you mean you don't want to cook, clean? Are you starving? Are you starving in a dirty house with dirty clothes? Or do you do it for yourself anyway? Because if you already do it for yourself anyway, go ahead and do it for your man.
let me tell you something, Mary. I was dealing with a man that was a neuroscientist. He was a neurosurgeon. He was making almost $1 million a year. His wife had all the latest appliances, but she still didn't want to cook. She was always doing what she wanted to do.
And I bet she was real pretty, wasn't she?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see his wife. I didn't see her.
Because he probably chose the baddie that was never gonna cook. That chose him because she wanted an easy life.
But watch this though. But a foreign baddie, if a man make that kind of money, he can get a baddie. She will cook, clean, and do everything the man asks her to do. Listen, a man get a foreign baddie and she'll be more than grateful to do everything that man, because in foreign countries the women are trained like you were raised, right? But a lot of women they're not trained to cook and clean for the men. They don't.
Absolutely, completely agree with you. But also, again, these foreign women, they are coming from a place where the men just have less. That's just it. Because here, let's talk about it. You're not going over to Dubai and pulling a baddie. These men are going. They're not going to Saudi Arabia, where you're not competing with the Saudi Arabian long oil money.
I agree with that.
You're not pulling those girls.
I agree with you on that. You're right.
You think that because you can pull a Dominican, that means that you're doing something? No. If you want to impress me, go pull one of these women that is used to dealing with men that have a bunch of money. If you can pull her just based off of your personality and all of that, then maybe you're about it. But the reality is, it's a value exchange. That's just what it is.
Well, you're right, but the problem in America is that it's not fair exchange. Most solid dudes, in my opinion, are not getting fair exchange. In my opinion, I'm not saying that they're not diamonds in the rough. Some decent sisters out there that are good women and they're uncovered gems. I call them uncovered gems. I believe those women do exist. But I would say in balance, because this brother here, he's a doctor. We're gonna have a show tomorrow. He's a literal doctor. Him and I talk all the time, professional brother, and we talk about it all the time. Now I've been with my wife for 30 years. But if I was a single man again, I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good. I probably never do it again. She would have to be an exquisite woman to meet my standards if I was a single woman, a single dude again. Because this brother, he's
and
a
then
PhD.
again, like if you're saying that, then says look at what you're saying. So, and I say this with respect. I say this with deep love and respect. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 54.
You're 54. So what would be an exquisite woman in your mind?
Okay, an exquisite woman. But see, watch this. Men gain their value. At 54, I could get a woman 20 years or 30 years younger than me.
You can get a woman because you have money and you already seem like you have superpower status.
No, listen. Hold tight, Mary. Hold tight.
Y'all are delusional.
Hold tight. Do I have money? Yes, but it's more than money. It's that Janation quality I have. I understand that money is a component that women look for. I understand that, but I'm 6'5", 6'6". That's gonna put me in the top tier above all. I'm 6'5", 6'6". Ivy League adjacent educated.
But you're old, and I say that with respect.
No.
You're old. There's a 6'5", 6 foot guy that's 24 that she would rather be with.
But you're missing the point. There is a plethora of women. Yes, I'm 54, but there's a plethora of women that like older, mature, masculine men. Dr. L, he's 50. He's 53. I understand that those women want. And listen, for women to use the argument, they don't want you for your woman money. Every woman want a man for money. Whether that man is whatever. Michael Jordan is 60. His wife is like 44. Jordan got money.
Michael Jordan.
No, I understand. But my point is, when women use that argument that okay, you're old, that doesn't mean that. I know guys right now that got wives 25 years younger than them, and they are lawyers,
and vice versa. And vice versa, like the reality is
women don't have a hang up over age as much, in my opinion. They don't have a most women. If you go to Colombia, my homeboy Dre is 60. My homeboy Dre is 57. His wife is like 30. And I don't know how much money Dre got, but Dre is 57. His wife is 30. Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that accord. Right. What I'm saying is it definitely, it can go both ways, right? Because the reality of it is if you're talking about whether or not your wife could pull somebody even in her older age, she could. It might not be who you're expecting her to go for, but she could find somebody. There's always somebody for everybody is what I'm going with.
Yeah. She could definitely find somebody, but she won't find me.
But if you amen. But if you turn around and you're telling these men, oh yeah, well you can pull whoever you want. Okay, cool. But if you're 55 and you pull the 25-year-old and then she's not sleeping with you, you can't then be shocked and surprised and amazed and wondering why. Because that for you to find in a pool of 25-year-olds a woman who's genuinely prefers someone older versus the women who date older men because of what they can offer them. It's you see what I'm saying with that? And vice versa. If you like these men, you're not gonna go for the 25-year-old who's unattractive. So there's a reason that you're going for these people. There's a reason for everyone's going for these people. But I just think that a lot of people, gotta be realistic, be honest and real. And a lot of these men, there's as many stories as there are as women. Oh, she cares about me. She likes me so much. She's doing this. And there's just as many men out there. There's a video just now. There's a video that's been viral right now. This older guy flew this girl out and got mad because she wouldn't let him touch her. And he was like, oh, well, I spent all this money on you and I paid all this and you told me to get this hotel and why won't, and she was just laying on the bed like, you can't touch me. I don't care. So the delusion cannot keep going both ways. It cannot keep going both ways. The delusion is
Do those type exist? Yes, I'm not against it. You're right. I'm not against that. But the misnomer that a lot of women have, they assume because a man is older, he doesn't have a je ne sais quoi. And I totally disagree with that. Men that are masculine and older and understand game, they don't have problem with women. Are there women that only want that man for money? Yes. I believe an older man dealing with a younger woman should have his money right, his body right, and be in excellent shape. But for them to assume that, oh, they just want you for your money. Well, every woman want a man for money. You got older chicks now that want men for money. You got women my age that want a man for money. But those men are not dealing with those women. They're dealing with younger women. And in foreign countries, they get a better product. That's all I'm saying. Are there women that want men for money? Yes, but every woman wants men for money.
Straight up, I will
Right.
tell you again and again and again.
Mhm.
I am actively in the middle right now. It'll be coming out in about a month. I am working on a marriage immigration fraud documentary. So I am telling you, as someone that has been doing this research, a lot of these men that are seeking and finding these overseas wives, and they throw themselves at you and they're so into you immediately. It's like believing that the stripper likes you. It's like going into the strip club and thinking, oh, she's just so into me. That is her job. She has a motive. She has an idea. She has a game plan. She has an end result in mind. And I'm sorry to burst the bubbles. It's the same. I say the same thing to women. I would say the same thing to women. Sis, that man doesn't just want to be around you because you're so awesome. He's trying to sleep with you. Be honest about what you have that person wants. That's what I'm saying in all of this.
Oh, no, I don't.
About what you have that
right.
person wants. Now, in the few cases where it aligns perfectly, and she genuinely does always, look for older men, and you genuinely are open to anyone of any age, but you happen to fall for the younger. Okay, sure. But if we look at the realities of the majority of all of these circumstances, we see that people get played. They're playing themselves by going after the wrong type of person.
I don't disagree with you, but once again, I think that's a false assumption that I think that I'm delusional. I know what I'm talking about because I know what I deal with. I'm not saying what you're saying is not true in part, but it's not this all-encompassing thing that older men that deal with foreign women abroad, they just want different green cards. That's a myth. And I think that's a projection in my opinion. Are there some that want men for money and status? Yes. They do that here in America.
Do you know that there are full websites? There's full websites in other countries dedicated to teaching women how to get an American man.
I understand that. Everything you're telling me, I know about this. I've been studying this stuff for the last 4 or 5 years. This brother I'm talking about, he's a doctor. So I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. But what I'm saying, Marion, is that people are trying to use that as the only trope to try to justify a narrative. And that's the only problem I have with that. Of course, I tell men all the time, if you're lame in America, you're going to be a lame abroad. I've always said that. I understand that there are some women that would use men just for the sake of green cards and money and all that. I get that. But then conversely, there are foreign men that use women for the same thing. It's not a gender thing. It happens to both sexes. That's all I'm saying. And I agree with you 100%. Right.
I completely agree with you. What I'm saying is that I don't think that it's smart or fair for us to equate the success that people have abroad with a reality that says that someone is just more valuable there or something like that, or that the other person sees their value more. Can you hear these fireworks outside of my window?
Yes, it's fine. I can hear
it. It's so insane. I'm like, what is happening today? Of all the things, we have the internet disconnecting. We have fireworks. It's a hot mess.
Right. Let me play this. I got you in this clip, Mary. Hold tight.
Okay.
Definitely failed. I think it has actually done the opposite of improving women's lives because the barometer for improving was shifted away from what truly fulfills us. Instead of being fulfilled by our families, by raising our children, by being a nurturer, God says we are a help meet. We are literally created as a helper to someone else. But now we were shifted into being a breadwinner, the go-getter, if you will, the provider. I don't know if you've noticed, the feminists wave started in the 50s, but really took like root in the 70s. And women have gotten a lot angrier. You got women just outside upset. Like, I feel like just really feeling angry. I love my work. I love what I do. At the end of the day, my number one accomplishment in life is being a mom. Feminism to me, like, it really has robbed a lot of women of this fulfillment. This joy is very special to being a mother or being a woman in itself.
Over 300,000 Black women.
Now this goes back to what I was saying about hope. The hopocalypse that's happening. This is about to happen. I call it the hopocalypse. 30,000 women lost their jobs here recently. What do you think about that and the impact of DEI?
300,000.
300,000, right? 300,000, right? Go ahead. What do you think
Oh
about
yeah,
that?
I mean, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Because again, like it's the same as what replaced men in women's lives, in women's minds, right? What replaced the man? And it was our jobs and the government. So that's another reason that I'm so into, conservative values and into the Republican Party, because the Republican Party says both of those things shouldn't be more important than your family, than your spouse. And especially not the government. The Republican Party is like, nah, let's get that out of here. Like, we need to get that out of here. This government assistance thing, remove it. Go ahead and stay with, the right person. Be together. Make it work it out. So I think it's going to be very fascinating to see. I think that, a lot of the reason people don't talk about this, but a lot of the reason that we have such high achieving women, and I don't think that that's a problem, but I think it works better if it's a 1-to-1, right? If women are going to be achieving high, then men need to also be achieving just as high, if not higher. I do think that we would have a happier society if that was the case within the Black community. So when we have
what do you mean by achieving high? Are you talking about educational attainment? Because I don't think that women get to dictate to men what men don't care about. Listen, I'm not against men achieving and men being successful, but there are many good men. God don't look at success based on academic attainment. God look at success based on the heart and based on a man's desire to love his wife and to take care of his family, his children. It's the women that struggle with that, and they try to place these values based on their genetic predisposition onto men. But I say that women don't get to tell men what the standard is. They got to become the standard. Now, if that woman want to get with a man that's highly educated, fine, that's her business. I'm not knocking that. But I think I think the burden of proof is on her, because once again, if every woman got married today, 2 million women would still be without husbands. So they don't have the power to be dictating to average men or decent men what the standard is. That's what my point is.
My question, okay, well, one, when you're saying the number that you keep saying, are you specifically talking about Black people marrying other Black people?
Yeah, Black people marrying whoever. I'm not against Black women marrying white women. If a Black woman want to get with a white woman, fine. In God's kingdom, God don't seek skin color. So if a Black woman marries a white man, I don't care.
When you say that 2 million women would be without husbands, are we talking about 2 million Black women would be without husbands?
Yes, 2 million Black women would be without husbands, unless.
At that point, then the Black women would go and seek other colored husbands, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that we can, forget that we are not the only ones that exist. So
no, I agree with that. But let me ask you a question.
What I will say,
go ahead,
I will say is that, like I mentioned, and a lot of I'm a Black conservative, right? So I'm actually not into this world. I love Black men, so that's just my preference. But I know plenty of Black women, Black conservative women that do not date Black men or have not dated Black men. And what they find is that this level that they're at, it's easier to find a white man or a, Middle Eastern man or someone of that account that is of that same level or higher, that is actually, for some reason, completely fine with dating a highly educated, highly successful Black woman. They find them to be valuable, right? So what I think is the reality of all of this, in my opinion, the Hopocalypse is going to happen. There is a restructuring. It's almost like a recession, right? Like we're going to have a recession. We're going to see that, people kind of took out these whole loans, if you will, and thought that banking on, running on their hodom was going to get them very far. And as long as they had their safety net of their own job, they were fine. And as that removes itself, we're going to see an evening, right? Okay. Now I don't have this job. So now maybe I'm a little more open to the guy working the blue collar job, etc. Fine. But when we look at what a relationship needs to succeed and to be valuable to both sides, if a man wants a woman who is genuinely into him, they do have to connect on an intellectual level. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same way that it's hard for a guy, if a guy is very smart or intellectual, it's very hard for him to truly love a bonehead, right? Or like the airheaded woman that's just cute and like you try to have a conversation with her and she's exhaustingly stupid. So eventually you're like, I'm just going to sleep with her and I'm moving on because I can't do this long term. This is a tiring conversation.
Right.
It's the same way for women. It's like, how much do I want to have to, perpetually explain something to somebody? You see what I'm saying?
Well, listen, I think that's for you. For you, I think you're an intelligent woman and you're a sapiophile. You like intelligent conversation, intelligent men. I don't think that's encompassing of all women. And even though if those women say they want that, I will argue, what is the fair exchange they're giving those men in return? Because she might say, well, I'm giving you my doctorate and how much money I got. Men don't care about that, as I said before in the past. Are you ran through? Are you feminine? Do you know how to speak life into a man? Do you have emotional regulation? Do you know how to keep your mouth shut? Do you over talk men? Do you down talk men? If you do all those things, you don't qualify. That woman does not qualify. And so the problem is that we live in a world where women keep trying to tell men what the standard is. And listen, I'm loving this conversation. I got nothing but love for you. I respect you highly. But like I told you, I got friends right now at 54. Me being 54 is not old in Colombia. 54 women in foreign countries routinely like older, mature men. There are some, of course, women want men for status, but it's not always about status. It's how you comport yourself. Like you were saying, if a man is masculine, he say what he mean. He checks that woman when she get out of line. If you're a 54-year-old man that's masculine, you check that woman will be turned. Don't buy that. Now, as I told you before in the past, don't no woman want no man with no big stomach. If he's older, he got erectile dysfunction. He's not taking care of himself. I wasn't going
to mention that, but that's right. We have to be realistic about that as well. Because, again, like I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not pretending that there's that opportunity in general. I think that's possible in general across the board. I think there's a lot of, as much as there's older men that can always find a younger woman, and a woman can always find an older man. So if you're dismissing the 40-year-olds because you feel like, oh, I can get a 25-year-old, then the 40-year-old is going to go get someone 60. But there's still somebody that will see interest and value in that in a person.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree.
So,
I don't disagree with that. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
if that man understands his value system, if that man holds masculine frame, if that man let that woman know that, listen, boo, you can go, I'm good. The problem with American men now, they don't know what their worth is. Their worth has been diminished. And when these men travel abroad, I'm telling you firsthand experience, when I have conversation with men, when they travel abroad, they're treated with a level of femininity so raw that I told Dr. Helen Smith, they have what's called a mental orgasm because they've never had it before. They don't even know what it looked like because they've been treated so badly. Black men want to be with black women, but and I'm not saying all, but a large portion of American black women are not fit, in my opinion, to be wives. I will argue that maybe a small percentage. Are there some? Yes. You might be one of the percentage, but most, a large percentage, they don't qualify to be wives.
I completely agree with you. And I would say that I think, in my opinion, that would change if men, one, learn their value, like you said, and two, stopped simping for these women. Like, that's just the reality of it. If men stood 10 toes down and said, no, I'm not comfortable with you wearing that. You're not going to walk out of the house next to me looking like you're for sale. No, if you want to, you want to go on a girls trip and you don't want to invite me, but you want me to pay for it, I'm not doing it. If men would stop being pushovers, then women would fall in line. That's just the reality of it. Men need to step up. And this is what I'm saying, back to what I was saying, I'm going to hold both sides accountable, because the women are a hot mess. But it's because if we're going to be led, someone has to be leading. But if we're being led by a look at Russell Wilson and Sierra, right?
He's a simp, man.
Let's talk about this. This is the stuff that I'm talking about. When we see that this is, people are touting him as this God-fearing man and this man of God, and he's the best guy, and he's the answers to her prayers, but he lets her walk around next to him naked.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Listen,
you see what I'm saying? So we have this issue is we have these simps that turn around and they get their first little baddie, and they're so happy to be with, they're just so tickle pink to be there, that they're like, oh, go ahead and do, or they want to show her off because they don't, again, they lack masculinity in themselves. A masculine man does not want to show off his wife to every man walking by.
I agree.
Like that Pastor Jamal Bryant and his wife. That's a mess.
Right. I would have never married Sierra because I know she's been ran through. Now, this guy right here, he's a doctor. Doc said black women cooperate with white men. Black women cooperate with white men. Black men no cooperate. Now, I agree with him on that. Like I told you, the lady I know we went to high school with, Marion, she was a PhD. She would have never gave her brother the time of the day, but she got with a very basic white man. Like you talking about, she got with a basic white man and she gave him respect, and we see it all the time. They can be good-looking black women, but they'll get with an average to subpar white man and give him more respect than they give an average hardworking black brother. And a lot of guys say, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not going to pledge my undying loyalty to women that don't pledge that to me." And Dr. L, he's another PhD. That's the point of going overseas. The quality of women is better. And we're not saying that women abroad don't have game. Every woman got game. The scripture said, cast not down strength to a woman. Women by nature have a dark nature, like men have a dark nature. If a woman's not grounded in Christ, she will always go back to her dark nature. It's just in her nature. The women that understand they have a dark nature own that, and they fight against it. Some women don't fight against it. They just say, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. But I'm telling you, the men that have traveled abroad, and they get those women, they have a level of femininity that's superior. And that's why, like this brother, he's a PhD. Him and I talk all the time. And that's why he's saying, if he do it again, his next woman going to be a foreign woman. He's 52. He's a silver fox because, a silver fox is an older black man that got that salt and pepper swag. And they understand that, that they got to have a certain level of decorum. When men get older, we don't care as much about looks as much. We do care, but we'll let you go. We don't care about the big butt. We don't care about that. If you're not cooperating, we're going to fire you and keep it moving. With the understanding, because we got more money now, we got more leverage. Yeah, we're silver foxes, but we can still get younger, pretty, hollow women. We understand some of those women might want that man for money or whatever. We understand all of that matters, but you can be an old simp and you can be a masculine silver fox. I'm a masculine silver fox. He's a masculine silver fox. And there's a total difference between a masculine silver fox and an old simp, because a masculine silver fox will tell that woman, you can go, boo. I'm not tripping, because those same women think I'm gonna get him for his money. No, you're not gonna get me for my money. You think you're gonna get me for my money, but when you start getting slick with your mouth, I'm gonna check you and I'm gonna release you and cast you to the wind. When you come into my kingdom, you're gonna follow my program. If you can't follow my program, you're free to leave. It ain't gonna be no arguments. You can just go and keep it moving. It ain't no argument. I wish you well in your journey, because by the time I get rid of you, I got about 10 to 20 more lined up that will agree with my program and respect me for the man that I am. It's really that simple. I'm gonna finish playing your clip.
I won't disagree with you. I would say that what I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna finish playing your clip. Hold tight.
Every single day until we bring them back, and they did not leave voluntarily. Let me show you what's actually going on. People keep framing this like black women chose to leave the workforce, like it was a lifestyle decision. And maybe for some it was, but for many it wasn't. So let me break it down. Number one, diversity, equity, and inclusion rollbacks. In the last 2 years, companies have gutted diversity programs. The roles that were created to address systematic inequity, eliminated. And the women in these roles, often black women, were the first out the door. Number 2, federal work reductions. A significant number of Black women work in government. Do not be fooled. When federal agencies cut staff or freeze hiring, those cuts fall disproportionately on workers who are already in vulnerable positions without decades of institutional protections. Number 3, child, toxic work environments. Here's the one nobody wants to name out loud. Some women left because staying was costing them their mental health. The code switching, the constant performance of competence to rooms that have already decided you don't belong. Some women made the rational choice to stop paying that tax. And number 4, hiring discrimination. When women try to re-enter the workforce, the barriers go up immediately. Resume gaps, age biases.
Now, Mara, you are a professional woman. You are a realtor. You have your own business. What has been some of the struggles of running your business? Have you experienced some of these things? I know it maybe doesn't impact you because you got your own business and you work for yourself. But what's been some of the struggles of being a black woman as a realtor? Or maybe you haven't had any issues. What's been some of the challenges? Maybe you haven't had any issues. I don't know.
No, I haven't had many issues. No, I mean, let's be clear. I am in New York City, one of the most diverse places in the world, so like we already know how to work together. I've always, my entire life, grown up around every other ethnicity. Everyone here has grown up with other ethnicities. So it would be very weird to have a bunch of, racial microaggressions, etc. I mean, there was one time this woman just, I told this guy that was walking through the office, she was showing him through the office, and I told him that his name was Dope because he had like a cool name. And she comes back, she's like, "Don't ever tell someone that their name is Dope. Why would you say that?" I'm like, that's a compliment. Like, it's not a big deal. But I understood that she just didn't understand my vernacular. It's okay. I wasn't offended by it. But I get that people are saying that this stuff happens, but I have to say that I feel like a lot of Black women just go out of their way to feel offended by things. That's just my honest truth. Like, I think that people look for ways and reasons to be offended. They look for things to be a problem. And this is just a Black woman thing in general, like finding a reason to be angry. Like I went to the post office and I walked up to the desk, and my dog is outside. It's snowing. I'm trying to get back outside to my dog, and I just walk up to the desk. I'm like, "Hey, do I just put my package in this thing?" And she just goes, "Hello." I was like, "Hi." And she's like, "How are you today?" I'm like, "Bitch, I do not want to have a conversation with you. Are you kidding me right now?" Like, because it was either do it how she needed it to be done or have an argument that was going to take longer. I had to be like, "Oh, I'm doing well. How are you?" "Okay, great. I just wanted to know. Can I put this here?" Right? And there's this thing, we have to be honest, like Black women, as much as we find, offense in what other people are doing, we're extremely difficult and extremely offensive and extremely rough at work. The same stuff that Black men are tired of dealing with is the same stuff that colleagues have to deal with. That's just the reality of it. And I actually did a video about this I will say I have to go soon because it's getting late and I have to get my daughter in bed.
Respect.
One thing that I did a video about, people saying, "Oh, so many Black women lost their jobs." It's like, yeah, a lot of Black women lost their jobs, but a lot of Black women, I don't want to say I said in the video they suck at their jobs, right? The reality is, a lot of the time, if you go to a place, if it's a Black receptionist, if it's a Black, teller at a bank or something, they might be the ones that give you the most attitude for no reason. They might be the ones that are most disagreeable to be around. They're the ones complaining about everything. Let it be 2 degrees too cold in that office. Who's going to complain? The Black woman. Right? So when we say like, "Oh, it's unfair," it's like, bro, like there's a level of chill that Black women need to find. And it's something that is seen within the issue of Black women relating to Black men and being soft and feminine and gentle around Black men, the same thing happens in the workforce. It's like you come in and you just got to show them, and I'm gonna be unapologetically me. You're going to be unapologetically fired because you don't want to just follow the dress code, or you don't want to just calm down a little bit and not be spicy with, customers on the phone, or combative with your colleagues. So I think it's a mixture of these things. Please stop.
All right. What do you get from this conversation? This was powerful. I know you got to go in a minute. I wanted to play a little bit more of this, but I love your five, man. We got to do this again.
Thank you.
I love your energy.
And to the person asking for my channel, I'm gonna post a video soon about feminism. I've been trying to. Thank you for the person that tagged it. Oh, that's you. Thank you. I've been trying to edit this one video about feminism for like a week, but I'm going to be getting that up soon. And my Instagram is #Marion, but with an underscore in between hashtag and Marion. So
no doubt. Well, listen. You're in Brooklyn, right? You're in Brooklyn.
I am.
So if I'm ever in Brooklyn, I'll look you up, man. But all
we can
jokes
finish
aside,
arguing in person. I can show you my stats on immigration marriage fraud, and you can show me your stats on lonely 40-year-old Black women.
Well, listen.
Because I don't disagree with you. That is a real thing. Right. It's a real thing. I truly please understand. I know that women need to change, especially Black women need to change something, or else end up alone forever. It's a sad reality. But I think that Black men need to step up as well. I think it's a mixture of those two things.
Well, my man Dr. Neal said, Doc said she was a good sport. So, we respect you. You say we didn't attack you. I mean, we not, a lot of people times, I got a show tomorrow talking about the manosphere. People are saying, well, manosphere men hate. Well, no, we don't. We love women. We love Black women. We just want cooperative Black women that's going to get on our program. That's it. Dr. L asked the question, if a man put his foot down, do you think a woman, this is what he said, if masculine men put their foot down, does she think women would change? I think you would change, but I think the majority of them wouldn't change. I think you would change, but I don't think most would change. They're too stiff-necked and hard-headed. And the older they are, the harder it is for them to change.
That's absolutely true. The older, the reality of it. But I think, when I say that men need to put their foot down, I'm talking about a long-term change that needs to happen. The same way that we got into this mess over the course of decades, of generations, right? We've seen the steady decline over the past 40 years. We also can see a steady incline, but it will take men being the ones to lead the charge, because Black women love y'all. We love y'all. Black women love Black men. Like, we really, really do. It's just, there's also so much negativity, so much toxicity, so much anger and resentment within this community at this point. And Black women, if you look at the majority of Black men and Black women who end up dating outside of their race, they tried for years to date Black people, right? You see, like, if we're talking about these passport bros, they'll say like, yeah, no, I tried dating Black women. I tried over and over and over. And finally I gave up. And now your friend that said the next time I'm gonna have to go overseas, because he's like, I'm done. I'm at my wit's end. I can't do it anymore. So we love each other. We really do. We love each other. We just need to remember, like I said, Black men need patience from Black women. Black women need patience from Black men, because we need to go through a healing process. And that is not going to be quick. It is not going to be easy. But if we care about the Black community remaining the Black community and not just the super mixed up community, then someone has to be willing to do it.
Yeah, and I'll say this on this. We'll end with this, and this has been a powerful conversation. Listen, God don't care about color. He don't care about race, as you and I talked about that earlier. If an Asian woman, white woman, any color woman love and honor and respect a Black man, I tell Black men, go where the woman honors you and respect you, and vice versa. If you find an Asian man, a white man, a Latino that loves you, get with that man. I'm not against that. But I get the conversation about trying to build what was lost. Now, you and I talked pre-screen before we did this show. I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime, because I believe we are in the precipice of the coming of the Messiah. That's what I believe. Now, am I against trying to get a good man? And maybe, okay, Lord, I got 3 years before the rapture take place, so at least give me my husband. Yeah, okay, fine. Go and get your husband right before the rapture take place. You go and get your husband. But overall, I mean, it's over with. The system is broken. The prophet said, unless God build a house of labor, he builds it in vain. It's built in vain. The platform is broken. And so until we get back to traditional values and mores where you allow the men to be men, because I'm going to say something that a lot of folks don't like, and we may agree or disagree. My wife is not my partner. That's a neoliberal concept that came out of egalitarian relationships. My wife is my wife. It doesn't mean that you don't have autonomy in the relationship. It doesn't mean that sometimes I say, okay, baby, you got it. You know how to work them books better than me. So I'm going to let you rock that. As long as you bring it to me as your husband, your priest, then we fine. That's all I'm talking about. But these people talking about, oh, we partners. We ain't no partners, because if we partners, that means that somebody break in the house on 5th and Manhattan, then you can take your behind down there and put your life on the line. But if we husband and wife, it means that anytime somebody break in the house, I'm going to defend your honor. If I'm your husband, if the car break down, I'm gonna get out and try to change that tire, and you can stay in the car and look cute. If I'm your husband, I'm going to pump your gas.
I can't agree with you. I completely disagree with you. I completely disagree, because I think if we look at the term partner, first of all, help meet. Biblically, like when you break down the word, especially in the Hebrew, the concept is one that meets someone at their same level with a differing role, right? So in my understanding, that is a partner. Like when, where I'm a businesswoman, when you look at a business, you have a CEO and a COO and a CFO. You have the founder, you have the president, etc. You have law firms where there's multiple partners and they each have an equal stake in the company, but they do have differing roles, and that is absolutely fine and okay. So in my opinion, I think it's important for men to realize you have to be a good partner, because if you're not a good partner, that means you are not doing your part. Doesn't mean that we have equal parts. It means that you are not doing your part. What is your part supposed to be? Do that, but you are still my partner. And otherwise, it does turn into a more subservient, dynamic, and that is not fair. Simply because, if we look at Christ, if we're taking Christ as the example, and the example that he gave to the church, and the example that Paul writes about, we see that he says, like, husbands need to serve their wives the same way that Christ served the church, right? Christ came to serve. And I saw a man who gave a perfect example about it. He said, my job as the man is to suffer so that she doesn't have to. And that is a partnership where his role is to take on the more difficult physical things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But my role as his partner is to complement the other side of that. So that's the way I look at it.
So two things can be true. And here's where I challenge you, and I'm going to let you go. And I love you and respect you highly. My issue is that the nomenclature of partner came out of liberalism, and it came out of egalitarian relationships. Most women say they want a partner because they don't feel safe that man's going to lead them in the right way. So a partner is a buffer to saying that man is not going to make them a slave, like you use the term subservient. You won't find nowhere in the biblical lexicon partner in the Greek or the Hebrew. You won't find it. And if you look at it in context, which is eisegesis, you're not going to find it. Now, I understand what you're saying. If you're saying partner, meaning I have a clear delineation of gender roles, then fine. As long as you know what the gender roles are. If you say, okay, you're the leader and I'm going to follow your leadership, and you lead righteous and don't abuse power, but at the end of the day, then you're the husband, fine. If you want to use partner in that sense, then fine. But most don't use it in that sense. Partner came out of the alphabet community. I never heard the term until I went to Carolina. You never heard the term. Black folks didn't use that term. That's very true. Right. And so that's when they start saying partner. And so when I went to grad school, I'm like, well, partner, we went from saying husband and wife to spouse to partner, because partner is a softer form. And I'm going to prove my point. I'm going to let you go there. You know why they said partner? Because when they said the marriage vow, Mary, they no longer said honor and obey. That's why they went to partner, because they don't want to obey their husbands. And when a woman chooses not to obey her husband, when she calls herself a believer, she's operating the spirit of witchcraft. I didn't say it, the word of God said it. Titus 3:5 says, wives, obey your husband. Feminism in itself was a form of witchcraft. because the woman wants to control the man. And like Dr. Neal, being an academic, he's right, and he's a theologian. Partnership is not biblical. It's a neoliberal term. It's a zeitgeist term. I understand some people have different terminology for it, but here's the problem. Words have meaning. Words have meaning, and we got to be careful how we use words. She's not my partner. She's my wife. And at the end of the day, my job is to die for her, protect her, and love her, and also guide her. And it doesn't mean that she's a slave. I get so sick. People always talk. Watch this. When you go on your job, you're not a partnership on your job. Now, watch this. If you and I were in business together, there's a partnership called marrying and kosher. We have co-equal power and co-equal responsibility. But a husband-wife dynamic, the wife is not equal to her husband in power. She's equal in her humanity, but she's not equal when it comes down to the man being the final leader. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have the power to have say-so, or to the husband saying, okay, well, baby, you can run this. Fine. It doesn't mean that the husband don't say, baby, you can handle that. But at the end of the day, she respects her husband's leadership, because the greatest gift that a man can give a woman is his life. If a man is saying, I'm willing to die for you, then how much more can you not submit to his leadership? That's the highest honor that a man can give to a woman, to say, listen, when you and I go out to dinner, I'm going to be like an FBI. My head going to be on the swivel, and I'm going to tell you, baby, you walk on the inside of the curve. I'm going to take the outside, and when we go to the restaurant, I'm going to post up so I can see whoever comes in. I'm going to take the bullet.
But I hear you, and I completely agree with you. I don't disagree with you. I think that, I hear what you're saying when you're saying that words are intentional and purposeful and important. So I will agree that maybe the concept, the word itself, partner, is tricky. As someone that, again, is a business-minded person, when I think of the concept of partnership, when I even look at a marriage, I think of it as a union almost of companies, right? The woman is a fully formed person, the man is a fully formed person. An acquisition almost, or merger, if you will, is what's happening here. But in any merger, we have someone that is leading, right? There is someone that is leading. So if IBM merges with Microsoft tomorrow, then Microsoft, Bill Gates will probably say, all right, we merged, but I'm still the head of this company, right? My final say is the final say, and that's it.
Exactly.
But when I look at, when you look at the intentionality of calling it a partnership, in my mindset, it's just to remind men that you have to do your part. You cannot show up asking a woman to be subservient, to be submissive, and you don't want to do the part that a man is supposed to do. And that's why I said I really would love to see men go back to building things, go back to creating things, go back to, doing the physical work. Like, stop sending your woman to the auto shop all the time. Learn how to, change oil, learn how to change a tire, etc. Like, yes, you have to be the one to show up and go fight the burglar if he shows up in our house, right? But that's because you want a woman that's also going to make sure that she's doing wifely duties, she's doing, that portion of the partnership. But we have a lot of men today who think, I just want me a trad wife, and all he wants to do is go to work and come home. He doesn't want to, feed into the relationship in any other type of way. He doesn't want to be the full partner in these other ways that's more important than just making the money. So this is what I'm saying with that. Like, it's like, you have to be mindful, even if there are totally different, I think there's different roles. But I also think that, like, there are men, unfortunately, that will excessively simplify their role into just protector provider. And they say, oh, I made the money and I got a gun in the house just in case. You do everything else. And I think that is very unfair and almost belittling to women. If you say that you love someone, your job is to make sure that you take care of them and make their life easier, not more difficult. So that's why when I say partner, I want men to remember that you are part of that union in regards to your job, your duty, and what you have to literally be doing to help out.
So what do you mean by okay, all right. So if a man is working 40 plus hours, 60 hours, exhausted, and he's doing everything in his power, to be a good husband, what else should he be doing? I mean, if he's burnt out and exhausted, what is she going to give him back in return if she's staying home? Listen, women years ago worked for the white folks in the South. They were still feminine. They didn't have none of the modern appliances, and they worked together as a team. The black man was working with the black woman. She worked for Mr. Charlie, and she took care of Mr. Charlie's kids, came home, cooked a full-course meal, washed clothes with her hand, and they still made it work. The modern
because
black
that man
woman
was building something.
right, that's fine. That's fine.
Because
But
he built
listen,
the house.
but
He built the damn house. Like, let's not ignore that. I've said it multiple times. Go out and build something.
okay, that's fine, Marion. That's
Go
fine.
catch the fish. You want me to cook the fish? Go catch it. Go shoot something in the backyard. Do these things. I'm so serious. Like, I have no problem with the other parts. I have no problem with it. If we're gonna get more modern day with it, sure. Maybe it's take out the trash without being asked. Right? Like that, I feel like that's men know that could be a more masculine role. Be the one to take out the trash. Go ahead and mow the lawn without being nagged to do it, because this is part of your work. You want me to be out there sweating, pushing a lawnmower? No, right? Go take my car to be serviced. Go make sure that if we need to re-tile or whatever, there's a renovation project that needs to be done in the house. Why is it that I'm doing laundry every single day, and you're actively ignoring the fact that this door is off the hinge? You want me to get your power tools out and go fix the door? Go do that without being asked, bro. That's what we're saying. There's mediums here. It's not, look, and I'm saying this because, again, one, the reality is most couples in America, both man and woman are working, right? Like, that's just the reality of what has happened in a society where women demanded to be given the ability to work, and now you need two incomes to take care of a household in a lot of states, right? So that's just the reality of it. But I still think that when you come home, both of you can divvy up the portions however you feel. I don't care what people do. Like, I know men that prefer to cook. They love cooking. I think it's actually a misconception that women are the only ones that cook. Men love to cook. Like, the majority of Michelin star chefs are men. The majority of culinary students are men, right? So men love cooking. Line cooks in restaurants, they're men. Men have no problem cooking. But if there's not an equal level of partnership, if one partner feels like they're doing everything and another person only has to do a small portion, then that is where you get resentment. That's where you get someone that's burnt out. That's where you get someone that's genuinely unhappy and miserable and sad and feeling uncared for and unloved. And that is not a good partner at that point. At that point, you're not caring for someone. You're not leading the way that Jesus led. Right? Jesus washed the feet. Jesus went out and made sure to take care of the people.
Right. So watch this. I'm gonna let you go. And I've enjoyed this conversation. It was powerful. We got to do a part 2. But let me say this. You know what a lot of men are saying? If I'm gonna bust my ass working outside the house, then you come home and nag and try to dictate my masculinity, I'll just stay single and cook for myself. Because what a lot of men are saying is that you got women sitting up complaining about cooking a meal, but yet what is cooking an extra meal if you're a single woman cooking for yourself? How's that labor? What is it? What is it if you washing your clothes, but now you washing your man clothes? How's that labor when women now got the most appliances of any generation, modern appliances, and they still complain? Because they complain because somehow I think psychologically there's some level of penis envy, and they subtly want to be like men. And if they don't think it's fair based on her feelings, then they have a problem with it. And so when a lot of guys saying, you know what, fine, I'll just stay single and I can cook my own food, I can get focus factor, and I get a nanny to come clean my house, because it's preposterous to say the least. The problem that I see with a lot of modern women, they want to tell men how to run the relationship. I agree with you. I don't think no man should be letting the door hang off the hinge and your car needs oil. I'm gonna change your oil. I'm gonna fix the door on the hinge. Then I might go kill a squirrel too and tell you to cook it. Now go skin it and cook it for me.
There's ducks in the backyard. Go get them.
But at the end of the day, she's not going to dictate the relationship. I'm going to dictate the relationship. I'm going to do it with loving and kindness. Now watch this. And I'm going to let you go because I got nothing but love and respect for you. And if I ever come to Brooklyn, we're going to chop it up. But I didn't say it, but because of the curse of sin, the Bible said that she will have a desire for her husband. But at the end of the day, the Bible says he will rule over her because women are still under the curse. They want to rule the man. And it's out of order when women try to tell men how to run their program. I get it as part of her dark nature. But if you don't think that man is competent enough to be whatever, just don't marry him. Don't marry him. Just stay single and just do you. But I never understood women complaining about having to cook for an extra man. Like some of these chicks talking about, you want a man to pay all bills because you cooking a meal? You cooking just one extra meal, and I'm gonna pay all bills. But what them bodies look like? You know, they want traditional benefits. Modern women want traditional benefits while they remain modern, and I got a problem with that. So, but anyway, this has been powerful. Number love for you.
I agree, and I'm glad. And I want to remind you, like I did say, that I find it weird when women complain about cooking or cleaning or doing laundry and stuff. I feel like if your home is already taken care of without anyone else there, then that's just who you are. You know, it shouldn't be. I came just now into this new apartment and I just cleaned the entire apartment. I didn't care about who else had, been here or not. I'm going to live in a clean space for me.
Right. That's part of your nature. You're just a clean woman. You're very clean and you're
it's just
organized.
weird to me that a lot of these women are like, oh, I can't. I'm like, okay, so then you must have a dirty home and you never cook and you walk around in stinky clothes because you don't do these things for yourself. It's weird. But that said, again, each partner needs to be valuable to the other. And a lot of men, if we're talking about body count as being a concern, I get that. I really do. Women also would love for men to have lower body counts. I will remind you guys of that. It is not fun dating a man that has multiple baby mamas and you have to navigate around that. It's not fun dating a man who has slept with everybody on the block. And now these women are looking at you like, I had your husband. I know what he does in bed. That's not fun either for women. And if you want a virtuous woman who does not have a high body count or who has been, waiting for marriage or who is abstinent and waiting for marriage, then you also need to start to present a better option for her. Because there's virtuous men out there as well. And like I said, if the men start becoming better, if the men lead the charge, get better and still date Black women, because we're losing a lot of the better Black men to other ethnicities, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, listen. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you go. If Black women want Black men to be better, they got to be better themselves. I keep hearing a lot of women saying they want Black men to be better, but they're not better. So if she want a better product, she got to be a better woman. And a lot of them don't want to be better women. I'm agreeing. That's what I just said. I agree with you. I just said I agree with you 100%. She got to be better. She got to be better herself.
My point only is just that I think that more Black women will become better if Black men require that.
I agree with you 1,000,000%. You got an A+ because you're 1,000,000% correct. You're 100% correct. But I'll say this before I let you leave. I've seen scenarios, Mary, where men did give their best. They were singing that song by James Ingram. I gave my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. They were good husbands. They laid that pipe down in the bedroom. They paid bills, and she still got mad and talking about it wasn't enough. Only to come back after she got ran through talking about can we talk for a minute? No, we can't talk, boo. It's over with. I don't want you back. You can keep. I'm telling you, I've seen it.
Because this is why it's a good conversation. I'm gonna let you go because my daughter is really ready to punch me. But the other side of that, we have to acknowledge the number of good women who were doing the exact same thing, who were taking care of some man and cooking for him and putting it down in the bedroom, etc. And that man still cheated. Or he still went for the younger model down the line.
That's true. So I agree. I don't disagree with that.
Gotta be fair again about the reality of what. But
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. That happens.
We all need to get it together because it's a hot mess out here in general.
No doubt. Well, listen. If I ever come to Brooklyn, we're gonna chop it up. I'm gonna pay for the coffee. I'm gonna bring Miss Kosher, or I might go solo. I got a homeboy in Brooklyn, my man Ty, and we're gonna chop it up. And I'm gonna say, listen, what's up? We're gonna chop it up. We're gonna have this conversation. We're gonna actually do it live from the phone. Man.
I was gonna say, we'll do it live. That'd be fun. A live.
All right.
I been a pleasure, truly. I've had a great time. Thank you for putting up with my chopping with internet.
No, you good, sis. Be good. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Shout out to my man Quiet Faith for that $50 super chat. Shout out to brother Quiet Faith for the 50. Let me read it. All right. So shout out to Quiet Faith. He said, great show. Shout out to that brother. I really appreciate it. Quiet Faith is the #1 sponsor of the stream. Shout out to Quiet Faith for showing love, as he is the #1 sponsor of the stream. All right, guys. Listen, man. Shout out to everybody. Man, anyway. But shout out to my man Quiet Faith, man. It was a good show, guys. We're gonna end it here. Shout out to Marion at #Marion. Go check out Cool Sister. Got nothing but love and respect for her. We need these conversations. And so Cortez said, fellas, keep improving to date black women overseas. But anyway, guys, we're going to sign out, man. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. And guys, we're going to sign out. And y'all take care of yourselves. We're going to end this to sign out. Shout out to Mary once again.
In these conversations. So I'm really happy we've been able to do this. But as far as perception, I think that we would all agree that, people immediately assume things about us that probably just aren't true.
My perfect man would be a tall, black
comes to us and fall comes to us and it's on time. Finders keepers, losers we.
Cognitive dissonance is a condition that happens for a myriad of reasons. Many times in modern America, men and women often do one of the following. They deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue to ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of the message. And they will fight you or flee because they cannot hear what you are saying. A condition such as this, tied into cognitive dissonance, often happens to those that have or lack self-awareness. They stay in a perpetual cycle of arrested development, exhibited by this.